Yo, what is up, guys? Quick little audio test. All right, how we doing? Twitch. Okay, sounds good. How's everything look? Looks good, looks good. All right, I'm just getting a little set up here, and then, we could kind of get started. I have to do another little audio test after. After our guest arrives. All right, so let me kind of just get the live stream started. So yeah, it's been a little bit since I streamed last time. We were going pretty hard in PoE, and PoE has been a lot of fun. PoE Mirage has been a lot of fun, and I had a great time. And I'm looking forward to PoE 2, which is going to be in May, but in between in this transition phase, I'm super excited to play some OSRS leagues. And if you look at my channel, I've actually done quite a bit of stuff with OSRS leagues. These are like my top 3 games, right? Like PoE, PoE 2, OSRS. And yeah, and I wanted to do more content for OSRS leagues. And instead of going through what I did traditionally by talking about a bunch of relics and whatnot, I thought it would be more interesting to bring a bunch of different guests, kind of talk to them and figure out their perspective on leagues, look at their region combinations and whatnot, and kind of give a bunch of different people a kind of like a platform to kind of just talk about what they're planning. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who also play kind of like OSRS and PoE together, like our main PoE legend Ziz over here. He's been a big OSRS fan, and he's actually been featured in a bunch of different things by Jagex. Um, So, and I think he's hosting a speedrunning tournament today, I believe. But, anyways, I know he's going to be playing some leagues and it's going to be fun. So, I'm very excited. I have a few guests lined up. We'll kind of see how it goes and we'll see how this podcasting goes. I think it'll be fun. And that's kind of the goal with these videos. Anyways, let's let me try to get our guest on here and then we'll kind of vibe out a little bit before going into the full discussion. Da, 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 da. All right. Hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm good. I'm good. Let me just do a little bit of audio test just to make sure your audio is coming through. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. um, can you try talking?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can keep talking. Hey everyone, I'm Static Initializer. If you don't know me, I'm a very small time, primarily old school RuneScape leagues creator only. I pretty much just pop in, make a bunch of videos at the start of leagues, throughout the early parts of leagues, and then kind of disappear back into my cave. I also play Path of Exile quite a bit. I just finished up and got my 36 challenges in Path of Exile and dropped out of there and just in time to kick off the RuneScape League. And so it's pretty exciting to be here. It's a good time to kind of transition from one league to another. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I just kind of was going in between the audio, but I just heard you did 36 out of 36 in PoE.
36 out of 40
Oh yeah,
with the
yeah.
challenges.
Right, right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yo, that's kind of crazy because it's sort of like the perfect transition. Like, I messaged a bunch of people, and you being the first guest is kind of like the perfect transition between PoE and OSRS. So it kind of worked out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm actually kind of curious because I know there's a ever since like Ziz and everyone else has been having an overlap with like Path of Exile and old school RuneScape. I'm kind of curious to see like what if the leagues just get organized between like Jagex and GGG and they just kind of end one and start the other one. It's gonna be kind of an interesting setup because they're not really like competition games. They kind of work in two different, very different genres.
Yeah,
Um, but I feel like there's a good number of players who overlap. Like who's that famous Emiracles, right? You watch Emiracles, he makes the cast when stun
yeah, yeah. I've heard
super
of him.
builds.
Ultimatum. Yeah,
Yeah, so you just like you watch him after like day four, he's just like AFKing Ultimatum and Simulacrums while playing RuneScape. And if you go to his stream, you'll always see like he's AFKing in both games at the same time. It's kind of funny. So there's definitely a huge amount of player overlap across both games, for sure. So I'm just kind of curious how the players will kind of prioritize which league or event they're going to play if they ever clash.
yep, yep. Yo, what's up, Muzz? Yes, Jagex is sponsoring Ziz's event that's happening today. um, Also, like, I'll try to talk to chat a little bit, but I think once we kind of get into the flow of the podcast, I'll just kind of type reply to you guys and kind of more focus on talking to static over here.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. It'll be. I mean, we can respond to the chat in the comments and kind of interact with them too if they have some topics or things to bring up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. If I see something, or if you see something, feel free to bring it up. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
just kind of, I'm kind of just organizing a little bit. Did you end up making a video today?
I did. I actually prepared it last night, like all the content and stuff. I just ended up recording. I got home a little early today, so I recorded it just before we got on. So I just analyzed the Soul Harvest relic. Pretty
Oh,
exciting, pretty powerful relic. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. Definitely a lot to talk about here.
Oh yeah. Like yesterday, was it yesterday's spoiler? Yeah, yesterday's spoiler was absolutely insane. Three
Yeah,
powerful relics and the giant tree. Like that's I think more information we've gotten in a single day than like ever in any of the past league spoilers before. It's kind of crazy.
yep. Okay. That's right. That's right, Buzz. I feel like a lot of PoE and like OSRS players are kind of like similar in like what they kind of do for work slash like mindset. Like I feel like everyone is some sort of like dev that like plays this game a lot, like besides like being like a casual or even casuals, like I feel um
Oh yeah, I think it's like it's more skewed because you look at the content creators and they're probably like like I mean they're all content creators, right? But I
right.
think a lot of the people under the hood, like the people I've met through playing Path of Exile, are definitely tech. And then actually the people I play RuneScape with are also like tech. I mean, they used to be my colleagues, and
Yep.
now they're just friends, and we just play together and stuff like that. So, um, I mean, I think we're biased because we're surrounded by those people. I'm
Yep.
always curious as to like the people who are like playing RuneScape in bars. You see them post on Reddit once in a while, and you're like, hey, I wonder what that guy does,
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
don't go
yeah.
out to bars. I just stay at home and play video games.
um all right, cool. Ready to go.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm ready.
Okay, cool, cool. Um actually I've never done like an intro before, so this is gonna be a little fun. Just kind of winging it right now. I think this whole podcast as a whole slash like discussion is kind of just something that I wanted to do like for fun. Um Intro cherry poppin', that's right. So what's up, guys? I'm Sid Vicious, and this is going to be the first episode of OSRS League's Roundtable, where I just talk to a bunch of different people and try to get their perspective on OSRS Leagues, talk about different things like region combination, relics, and kind of different goals that they have within the leagues. And today we have our first guest, Static Initializer. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm pretty hyped. This league is it's been kind of crazy. Every time I think, Jagex can't come up with something new and we're gonna just see a bunch of mixed up relics, and every time I'm wrong and Jagex just keeps cooking something kind of crazy, and what a flurry of reveals we've had recently.
Yep, yep. So yeah, that was like a formal introduction, but I like to just keep it a little casual and kind of talk about leagues just and kind of go into our little discussion about our combos and whatnot. So let me ask you, starting off, like what actually makes leagues fun for you compared to the main game?
Yeah. I think like I think everyone's favorite kind of aspect of the main game is trying to see like how fast, or at least for me, it's always been like how fast can I get started and get going. But I don't want to restart a new character every time, you know.
Right.
And so like in the league, it's like, all right, if I could start from scratch, what mistakes did I make in my last account that I won't make this time, right? And so like leagues gives you that kind of like, let's reset, let's like play from the beginning and see like how we can go crazy. And obviously because it's like a limited time mode, we get all these boosts and benefits. But it kind of is that forcing function to like try to like go fast and correct the mistakes of last time. And
Mm-hmm.
so like every time you like get a restart, it's like brand new. And it's kind of exciting to like see how much you've like learned from your past mistakes or your skill gaps. Like I never thought that I would ever two tick anything or
Right.
stuff like that. And like now when I league starts, once in a while will two tick something. I'll definitely do tick manipulation on chins and hunter, especially because I typically don't pick a hunter relic, for example. And so it's stuff like that where it's like you can see yourself kind of evolve and improve your skill sets over time. And it's really exciting to see like, and especially because leagues, like you get like a year or two long break, right, in between them. And so you can like practice in the main game and then bring those skills to like a fresh new like kind of league start and just see like how you do in comparison to the crowd because it is a little bit of a race at the start, which is a lot of fun.
Right. Right. Yeah, I feel like the same way. Since I don't play a lot of OSRS, it's always fun for me to come back to leagues and just kind of, get to like experience all the new things that are in OSRS. Like I'll just go off, play other games, and then I'll always come back to, playing RuneScape at one point or another. And leagues has been like the perfect way to kind of get me like super excited to play the game and also just try out different things.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think there's another good point of leagues is if you're playing the main game and, some people, we just like, sometimes you just go dry on certain bosses or certain drops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're like at like 92, in a skill, and then you realize you're only halfway to 99. And so like it can get really like tiring and fatiguing to kind of like just keep doing that grind sometimes, especially like when you go dry on a boss. Like I have, I think, what, like 60 or 80 Spori kills and
Mm-hmm.
luckily, I'm playing a group Ironman, so my group mate actually got 5 buckets, but I
Wow.
personally haven't dropped a single bucket. And so, if I was playing a solo Ironman, I would still be bottomless bucketless. And that's it's stuff like that where it's pretty disheartening. And so like leagues is like okay, I actually haven't logged into RuneScape in like I don't know 2 months or a month, something like that. And so like leagues is like that kind of reset to kind of get excited again about the game and
Mm-hmm.
kind of take a break from like because as you play the game longer, the grinds just get longer and slower and more time consuming, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, you look at the people who are trying to, finish collection log, which will never happen in our lifetime, but they're trying to get as close as possible, and that is an infinite grind, effectively, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think leagues coming in once or twice a year with like Gridmaster or leagues or Dead Man mode or whatever it is, um, that gives you a break from that like really long slow grinds and you get to have a lot of fun playing like a really souped up kind of game mode.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you, like, do you mainly focus on trying to experiment and try around different builds, or do you go for like Dragon Cup or try to like max? Like what's your play style like or like your goal for the league?
Yeah, so I think to describe me, I'm a try hard casual, I think is the best
Yeah.
way to put it. And so like I want to maximize my gains while AFKing. Because we all play RuneScape partly for the dopamine, right? Watching that XP drop
Mhm.
happen, watching the level go up, right? But I'm not someone who like plays video games in general, and the same thing applies to any other video game that I play now. That I really want to like learn and master a skill, right? And RuneScape is overall is a really skill intensive game. Like in order to fight Soul or in order to fight Zuck, right? All these bosses are really mechanically difficult and it
Mhm.
takes a lot of time to learn, right? And so like that part of the content for RuneScape generally isn't for me. Now Leagues makes it a lot easier, so you're able to do a lot of raids, right? And to have fun. But I primarily come in for like that power level. And then I think the other benefit that I'm looking for is just to like have fun. And part of that is also like sometimes, so last league I did target to kind of go towards Dragon Cup. I
Yeah.
was actually like 6,000 or 7,000 points away from it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it was just like the little bits of grind left, and I realized that like, hey, I already have enough points for all the cosmetics that I want in the game. I don't really care about the trophy, right? And then I kind of just stopped grinding, and I kind of had like, and like a lot of my friends had finished up with the league and they were done grinding as well. And so I don't like necessarily target Dragon Cup. I don't want to like make my choices prevent me from getting Dragon Cup. So I will kind
Mhm.
of choose my relics to make sure I have that as an option, but I'll primarily focus on the game. I actually last league I ended up stopping at like 52 or 55,000 points, making a second account just so I can make a major in Mauritania, so I could do Theater Blood with like the Mage Relic
Mhm.
maxed out, and that was actually so much fun. I ended up getting like I don't know 20, 30,000 points in my second account. And so I think I primarily focus on like the fun aspect of leagues,
Yeah.
and then trying out new content and just kind of having a different fun play style that you can't really experience in the main game.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of similar in that way where last couple times I just played mainly for fun to kind of just play the games with my friends. Um I forgot like which league I came back to, but I skipped out on Shattered Relics and I came back mainly cuz like they introduced like raids and stuff and I haven't like tried it before, and I had a bunch of people there's like, oh, they added this like raid, they actually have two raids, and there's like TOA, there's like COX, and I was like, cool, cool, like let me try these out, like, and I don't have like a main account that I've been grinding, right? And it's quite a bit of a grind if you think about it, to be able to do some of those raids, maybe not TOA anymore. um but leagues kind of allows me to play with my friends who are super into RuneScape, and I could actually enjoy having like content together, having like that MMO like experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you ever watched one of my previous videos on like why you should play the leagues and what you should hope to get out of it,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about like fun and learning. I think when I saw Last Stand, that became like the no-brainer pick last league for
Yep.
me because it allowed me to make mistakes and still play the league. And then I could do all the raids, I could do all the difficult bosses. I did my first ever Inferno.
Yeah.
Actually, I did Inferno multiple times last league with Last Stand, trying to race the clock for the speed
Speed. Yeah.
combat achievement. Yeah, exactly. And so like that was kind of crazy that I was able to do that. And leagues creates that like kind of power level that you need to like safely learn the content.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it feels so disheartening and punishing. Like I remember the first time I tried Jad and I died and I was so sweaty and anxious.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
log back into the game after a year. But when you get to play in leagues and you get the power boost, you become a lot more fearless just
Yeah.
because you know like the bosses are nothing in comparison to you. Ironically enough, I killed my first Jad in a league, and that was back when I think there was a retaliation relic, and
Okay. Yeah.
I accidentally prayed incorrectly each time Jad hit, and I just reflected the damage back to Jad and killed him with his own damage, while like triple eating the whole time. It
uh.
was hilariously bad,
Yeah.
but it was fun that like it showed that like, hey, I could actually kill Jad, right? And then after that, I got some more confidence to do Jad, and then I did it a couple more times in leagues, and like now it's like I can do it eyes closed in the regular game, no problem.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, last league was the same for me. Like it was my first time doing Zuck, and Inferno, and I actually ended up doing a bunch of it, but not because I was doing them, it's because I was failing them because I didn't have Banker's Note and I did not have Last Stand. I went with Total Recall and Spec Relic for absolute DPS, and for Zuck,
Mm.
you have to learn mechanics. Like it was like it was like a complete. I think it was like really fun. It was like my, what should I say, the most memorable part, because I attempted it like 7 times and I kept getting pretty much ad suck and just having to think about like various things that I never thought about in the game. Like the first time, I just simply didn't have tile markers, so I didn't understand where to stand behind the shield and like the drag mechanic and things like that. And I was just like what is going on? And like the second time, I'm like, I do have the tile markers, but then I'm like, wait, what is this camera angle? Like there's like small things that make a
Oh yeah.
very very big difference. And that is probably like my favorite achievement, besides even getting like Dragon Cup. I was like, I can't believe I did Zuck, with no last stand or Banker's Note, just kind of having to really um focus on like what I'm doing and like solving the pillars and whatnot.
Yeah, and I think that's like it's really good to like have that moment, and
Mm-hmm.
leagues kind of enables everyone to do it, right? Because you also get all the other combat, capabilities for more damage and everything that helps you kind of cut through the boss fights a lot faster, right? So like
Yep.
that is really like one of the best aspects of it for anyone learning. And what's interesting is like I know everyone sees like the power level of some of the relics, and everyone kind of goes crazy.
Yeah.
They're watching their favorite streamer like Foe or Bodhi, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the Thunder Kopash with Specialist, and I'm just gonna AOE blast like the whole damn game. Walking through like the Karen dungeon, just erasing packs as you walk through section by section, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, it's like, all right, well, is this gonna be the best choice for you to kind of really learn and practice and play the game, or do you just want to be a god and just erase things, right? And so I
Right.
think this is where like your question was like, hey, why do you play the league, and what do you hope to get out of it? Everyone has their own kind of preference, right? And so like just do what is fun, right? Sometimes it's important to choose a certain relic, but in reality it's actually just important to choose the relic that you're going to have the most fun in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's kind of just get into the core of the discussion, and let's talk about like regions and relics and whatnot. Let's start by talking about regions. First, what regions kind of like interest you the most, or we could even start with the Varlamore. Like we could talk about like the starting region.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Varlamore is definitely interesting. I didn't pick it last league, so I'm pretty pumped that we're starting here, right? It's. I was excited when we started in Camelot, right? Was it
Oh
Camelot or
yeah,
no?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Catherby,
yeah,
Camelot, same
yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Catherby,
yeah, yeah.
Catherby. Yeah, yeah. That was pretty fun in Shadow Relic, and it was kind of like a nice change up because you never log into the game for the first time and start there, right? You get off
Mm-hmm.
Tutorial Island, you're always in Lumbridge, right? You're playing the part of the game that's like 20, 30 years old, right?
Right.
Like Lumbridge has been there forever. And so like to start in Varlamore is I think just itself crazy because this is something that's been added in the last like few years.
Yeah.
Um, and also, this is like a region that you get way later in the game, and so it's like you wouldn't think it's tuned to beginners and like the starting low levels, just
Mm-hmm.
because most players don't journey here till way later on. And then you like look at it and you realize actually, holy crap, Jagex did like add a bunch of low level content here. I just never got here as I started the game. Well, one, because my character was already much higher level, by the time, and then two, like because everyone from Tutorial Island goes to Lumbridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine like in the future, Jagex is like, hey, you're getting off Tutorial Island, go to Voldemort, like that
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be an option that they
You
come
could
out with.
pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think what's really exciting about Varlamore as well is like compared to Lumbridge, it's got like way more bosses. Like Perilous Moons is, effectively a really cool Barrows. You're not like forced to go to Mauritania and get that like mid-level gear because your starting region has really good mid-level gear, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a one huge benefit to it, and like that mid-level gear can carry you, right? Like you can do Suck and Inferno with the Atlatl, right? That's definitely a viable option. in addition to that, you also have like Huey, which has a bunch of gear, and then now you also have Doom, right? And so like there's just so much content that's already available in Varlamore that you don't even need to like go to another region for content of all levels, right? So I think Varlamore is a pretty stacked region. It's also like super massive with like a whole cool variety. So I think that's just a nice kind of like new theme to kind of go. I'm kind of curious in like the next league or the league after when Jagex introduces sailing and like where they might
Mm.
have us start out.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, all right, well, definitely pick a place with like a good port where your boat can dock from day one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we'll see where that plays out in the next couple of years. But I think for the time being, Varlamore is just absolutely stacked. Now, I will say for like new players and beginner players, like I haven't done like I haven't done Doom all the waves and to the full extent of the game. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't done Soul at all,
Yeah.
and so like this can be a little bit intimidating because now everyone is going to have Soul and Doom on their task list as well,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, Whereas like everything you had in Misthalin were all easy tasks. And,
Yep.
and now you just have a couple more challenges there.
Yeah. So for me, it's super exciting, and there's a couple of points I want to make here. But for me, Varlamore is something that I haven't like fully experienced, and like I said, like I mainly play PoE. So when I come back to OSRS, usually I haven't like tried out like the new areas or like the new expansions and whatnot. And last league, I actually didn't pick a Varlamore. I picked it in my second account, but I didn't get to do a lot of different things. Um, and then when Gridmaster came, I played a little bit of Gridmaster, and I was able to play like figure out the Coliseum, try out Doom and things like that. But I don't really know them. You know what I mean? It's something that I have to kind of learn and kind of figure out like how do I actually solve this? Like the Coliseum has invocations and things like that. Uh, and I like completely don't know any of them. I was just kind of like Gridmaster. We were like super super strong, so I was kind of like blasting through everything. But with leagues, you have to like build up that power. You have to, um, figure out a little bit of like nuances before you could do all the content, and it's like fun for me to experience that. I don't know how other people feel, um since they've like what's it called, like since they've already played it so much. I don't know what their experience is like to kind of play leagues at a higher power. But for me it's like a fresh experience every time I come back and like I try out these regions, etc.
Yeah, I would say actually like the average player is probably not doing most of the content that you think that
Mm-hmm.
they might be doing, right? I think
Yeah, yeah.
like if you look at leagues, like I forget what the last league's percentage was, how many people who got dragon, but even if you just take dragon and rune, I think there's still like 60 to 70% of players who are left who never made it there. I think it's closer to like 60%, I think. And so like I don't think a lot of those players are actually doing some of the bosses or some of the content.
Yeah.
Um, and you're absolutely right. Like Gridmaster was absolutely cracked because we got access to every single relic and like echo item
Yeah.
possible, that like you had way more power than you would ever have in a league.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the first time we have the combat skill tree, right? And so we may find completely broken combinations and power in the
Yeah, yeah.
tree. But that aside, I think it's going to be interesting to see like how people go from Gridmaster and come back because your power is going to be significantly less.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and hopefully, I think we've got Gridmaster out of our system. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think people have to like try and just practice and explore. And I think because it's in the starting region, um, I think more people are going to be inclined to do a lot more content than they may have if we didn't start here, right? Because then you can just avoid Varlamore all like from the beginning, just because it has like too many difficult bosses with like Doom, Vardorvis, and Soul, right? And then you can just go on to do something else, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
pick a different
Mm-hmm.
region that's easier.
Yeah, and then there's also a bunch of different skilling activities as I'm looking at some of things that Varlamore has to offer. Like Veil Totems, Hunter Rumors is a big talk about solving Hunter as a skill and then mastering mixology and things like that. Valuables, stealing valuables. So these are like pretty cool options that I haven't like really dived into. I remember for Gridmaster, I did like one Veil Totem and that was it, and then I was out of there. But I've been like looking at the Discord, and a lot of people have been talking about Veil Totems for early fletching and um, Hunter Rumors for early hunting and kind of blocking skills and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I can't wait to try this out.
Yeah, so I think what's like that's the huge benefit to Varlamore being added later on in the game, which is and Iron Man didn't exist when like Lumbridge and all the other areas came out,
Yeah.
right? And so with the introduction of Iron Man and people playing like a solo self-found kind of game,
Mm-hmm.
um, there became a much greater need for people to be able to independently train and have more efficient ways to like level up their skills rather than just going to like the exchange and then buying a bunch of materials and doing it themselves, right? And so that's why Varlamore I think is ultra stacked with all of these skilling activities for all these like abilities. Actually, if you go over to the relics, I found this fun tidbit, which I don't know if a lot of people noticed.
Mm-hmm.
But in the tier two relic choices, you
Yeah.
have like three options, right? You have the forager, you have one sec, I gotta pull it up too. Yeah, you have friendly forager, you have hotfoot, and you have woodsman, right?
Yeah.
And if you look, back at the skilling activities and you compare these two, so hotfoot is agility, but you have the colossal worm agility course, right?
Right.
Uh, then friendly forager is herblore, but you have the mastering mixology, and then woodsman is hunter, but you have the hunter's guild.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I thought about is like, which of these activities in Varlamore do you like to do, and which one do you hate to do, right?
Right. Right.
And
Of
then
course.
based off of that, I'm actually going to be making my choice. I pretty much just hate training agility on rooftop courses, and so like Hotfoot is almost a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting way to think about it, and because we have so many activities in Varlamore, you're able to kind of like pick that way and differently than you would in maybe a more traditional sense, where you're like, how am I gonna like do one of these skills?
Yeah.
Um, and so like I can just get herbs from regular farming runs and other things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then just power through mastering mixology. Because I mean, I want the unlocks anyways. Like the chugging barrel and all of the other things are just kind of nice quality of life things to have. I think, even in leagues. And so like I'll do mastering mixology. The chugging barrel and other items are going to be collection logs as well, so you can use those towards the collection log tasks. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there's going to be tasks included as well for just getting certain items and mastering mixology as well. And so like because of that, like I'm just gonna kind of plan on doing it, and that way I can just kind of ignore friendly forager, right? There is the one caveat that getting 50 mil herblore is going to be a little bit challenging, so I
Right.
am a little bit nervous about that. But I'm okay to just kind of skip out on dragon tier. Like to me, that cup um, matters less. I really care about the points to buy all the cosmetics too. But it is interesting, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Varlamore is a stacked region for activities, for
Y-
sure.
yeah. Yeah. Actually, I never thought about um as like one of the goals, like you said, is like the cosmetics. Um, yeah, like that's very interesting. So talk to me about that because I've heard different things, right? Like people playing different builds, rushing tier 8 so that they could try different builds, different region combinations to the content that they like. I've heard about like dragon rushing. I've heard about point capping, right? I've also heard about dad gaming, right? Dad to dragon, things like that. But what is cosmetic um like that being your goal, like getting all the cosmetic? Is there a point threshold that you're like aiming for to get all those?
Yeah. So I think like every league, and remember all of your points you're able to purchase any rewards from any of the other leagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing this league as your first league, and you're like, oh, this is a really cool cosmetic from previous leagues, you can use your points to buy previous league cosmetics, which is awesome. So I don't think that, like, I haven't calculated the point threshold for me personally.
Gotcha,
I
gotcha.
know it's somewhere probably around like 30 to 40K to buy all the things that I want. And
Yeah.
so like I know I'm gonna easily be able to hit Rune and get more than enough points like I did last league to just purchase all the cosmetics. I'm pretty sure I still have like 10 or 20K cosmetics left over.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so like I like the cosmetics for two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, once you effectively trim your item in the main game, the cosmetic doesn't drop from your inventory. I think for most cases.
Oh, like
Uh,
protect type
yeah, it
stuff?
effectively
Yeah.
like protects the item instead of dropping. Like for example, like I have D boots that are trimmed, and so like when I have them equipped, if I die by accident, they'll stay on my character, and they won't drop, which is
Oh,
almost kind
that's
of like a nice
yeah, that's
buff
pretty
power.
OP.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of nuts. I mean, if you die in a PvP setting, you will drop it, and then
Okay,
a
okay.
player will take the dollar value of it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not for PvP. It's for PvM. It's just kind of like a little bit of a nice thing where like if you accidentally die to a boss that you're still learning, you don't have to worry so much about like re-equipping that item. And so I think from that perspective, it's kind of nice.
yeah.
But also just I think the cosmetics just look really cool in general. It takes like some of the really boring old stale items and you can do it. And it doesn't actually cost a lot of like points. So like anyone who's playing it, they're like, hey, like what am I getting out of this league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you're gonna have fun for a month, but after that month, like the league's over, right? And so it's like if you get that cosmetic, you put it on your character. It's kind of a nice like fun reminder to like, hey, I played this league, all the fun times I had, and it kind of becomes like that memory. It's like you go on a vacation, right? And you bring back like a little trinket or like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
couple of photos or whatever, and it becomes that like memento. I think the cosmetics kind of become that memento for a league, and so it's a nice kind of like fun reminder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so talk to me about your region combos. Like, what are you looking forward to? Like, what regions are you do you want to play? And like, sort of like some of like the reasoning behind it, and then we could kind of, see how your build looks like.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I haven't really finalized my regions yet, just because I don't know what's actually coming out.
Of course,
Um,
yeah.
I'm I'm like 80% locked into current. I haven't done like chambers that much. Or let's take one step back. Last league I did Asgarnia, Mauritania, and oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on the last one. Oh, I think Fremnik. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
think that was my combo. And so like I did the whole scythe melee build. I grinded, all the God of War's dungeon bosses and stuff like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
one thing I want to try to do is avoid the same exact regions as last league.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Um, it was a lot of fun, and don't get me wrong, and there's a chance I might still take Mauritania again. We'll
Yeah, yeah.
see on how the combat mastery shake up and what the builds look like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so part of my reason is like let's exclude those three. So then we're left with the remaining ones. I did Desert the league before in Trailblazer Reloaded, and so I kind of want to pass on Desert. I don't really care too much about the Dragor Blowpipe that much
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as well, and I do Toa in the main game anyways with my group
Yep.
whenever we get a chance, even though it's been a while. And so I think like desert's not so appealing to me, and I think wilderness also just there's nothing too much exciting in wilderness for me. Like it's cool. There's got a lot of bosses, wilderness bosses. But aside from that, I don't think there's really like KBD sounds cool. I want to see like what's the power level of the crossbow.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah.
really crazy, I might be inclined to take it. But I think wilderness just doesn't have enough like high level complex content for me to want to play
Yeah, yeah.
wilderness, and so I'm kind of like avoiding it. So then here I'm left with like the remaining regions, right? So I think current is a hard fix for me.
Mm-hmm.
um 80 to 90% chance I take current. The only reason I wouldn't take current is if I'm taking Mauritania, because I don't really want to have a double raids region
Yeah, yeah.
unlock. However, then I can just do whichever raid I like and just do the one that I need to for tasks and then just do it that way. We'll see. And then I think my second region is probably like and I don't know the order yet, by the way, so
Right.
just keep that in mind. My second region, I think, is Tehran.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a small amount of CG in the game, so I think it'll be fun to kind of practice and get a refresher of that. I obviously haven't gotten my enhanced weapon Crystal Seed, and so
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah.
good to kind of refresh, fight Echo Hunlift because I haven't done that. Get the blessing. I think there's just going to be some really cool power with Tehran Crystal Blessing because they said it was boosted in the trailer, but they didn't say exactly how.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of I'm kind of hoping it boosts magic. That would be sick. Um, and so using crystal armor, crystal blessing, and then just picking up my OP weapons and items will be cool. So I think those are my two fixed regions. I really don't want to do Asgarnia again because I've done it 3 times
Mm-hmm.
or 2 or 3 times now. But I'm kind of leaning towards it. Like the dagger from Cerberus looks really cool.
Yep.
Plus the God of War's dungeons just have a ton of gear. Last league I went ultra dry on Nex.
Mm.
I saw two people get like complete collection log while we were killing next together, while I had two Zerite crossbows, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was again that going dry is always disheartening. So yeah,
Yep.
I haven't locked in my third region. I think Kandarin is also a high potential.
Okay.
The combat masteries with like the elemental weakness, I think some of them can be really cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so stacking that with a devil's element, that always means you're uh, attacking with elemental weakness, just might be absolute absurd power levels.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think Kandarin right now is my like third region primarily, but it's still kind of up in the air. What
Flexible.
about
Yeah.
you? What regions are you thinking?
Yeah. So actually, yeah. So last league, I went wilderness, Asgarnia, and desert, and in Asgarnia, I did next for the first time, and I ended up like doing so many of them. I actually ended up getting the pet, the little nextling, and that was like a really fun. And then I was pushing to dragon, so I had to do a bunch of different combat achievements and stuff, and that
Yep.
was really cool to do the God War combat achievements because they're very like unique and they really like force you to play a certain way, like especially bandos. um that was kind of really difficult where it's like you can't take any damage and you have to take out the boss like 2 times in a row, something like that. um so like I love Asgarnia, like I love God War's dungeon, and I think I picked it almost every single time. I think Asgarnia and Wilderness I picked pretty much every single time, and then I kind of rotate my third region around. um I don't know, there's just something about God Wars that like gives me nostalgia more than anything. um so I love that region, but I think this time around I want to try, like my main goal I think this time around is going to be to go for that dragon rush to kind of see how other people try to push for dragon like super fast, to kind of see how I can keep up with the game. um I don't think I'm a contender for it, but I just want to have fun with it. So I think at the moment, there's two options that people are thinking about, which is Kandarin, Asgarnia, and Tyrnwyn, or Kandarin, Tyrnwyn, and the Wilderness. And I'm thinking Kandarin, Tyrnwyn, and Wilderness, because I haven't done Kandarin in a very long time, and that'll be kind of fun in its own. And Tyrnwyn, I haven't done CG at all. I did it a little bit on my second account last leagues, um, but I didn't get to play as much. Uh, but I do, I like the concept of CG, so I would love to play it as like my main first time build and just kind of go at it for like a bunch of different times. And Echo Hunlift was absolutely chaotic. Like when I tried it, I was just like, what is going on? and trying to like keep up with all like the moving parts was super ridiculous. And I would love to try that again.
Yeah, like I think the one of the best things about CG as like a place to like practice and learn is once you get down the movements and like the patterns and everything, you
Mm-hmm.
just become so good at it. And what's nice is you don't go in there with any special gear. Like you do have the souped up relics
Yep.
and the demonic packs this time, right? But you don't have any special gear that's really cracked out. You just go in there with your typical gauntlet gear. And so like getting in there and practicing that and coming out and going back into the main game, like CG still remains to this day like one of the best money makers in the game, whether
Mm-hmm.
you're an Iron Man or not. Because if you're an Iron Man, it's a ton of alchables and just raw cash
Yep.
as drops. And if you're not, then you can just sell all the things and make tons of money. It is absolutely absurd how good CG is, and it's a zero like resource investment activity. Um, and so I think that's one region that I would, yeah, absolutely, I agree with you there. I'm looking forward to that region in general, just to test out, and because I never did Echo Hunlift, I've just done regular GCG Hunlift.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll be a lot of fun. But hey, you're not looking to go any of the raids regions then, huh? If you're gonna pick
Yes.
like Kandarin and Wilderness, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so that's probably, so I'm gonna try, like I was watching your video yesterday about like the, like the relics and stuff like that. We can kind of talk about that a little bit later. Um but I plan on creating like a second account on the side to kind of help me just passively get to a threshold where I could go into some raid regions. Like a bunch of my friends, they're saying they want to go Mortania for Theater of Blood, and I tried out Theater of Blood in Gridmaster. I tried all the raids in Gridmaster, and the main one that I really fell in love with was Chambers. Like there was something about Chambers. I don't know why, but I just really just enjoyed that raid. And then Mortania was a really fun too. TOA, like you said earlier, a lot of people play it, and like especially in the main game. So, and I played it a lot in leagues last time. So I'm looking forward to trying Mortania, TOB, and probably Zaya, and see what I could do to make that happen with like a double raid region as like my second account. But for the main one, no raids, try to get as many points as possible as fast as possible. That's the goal, and see how far I can go with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've heard like the Dragon Rush strategy pretty much tries to avoid as many like RNG and like difficult kind of challenges and tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take out like difficult raids, difficult challenges, and like any sort of thing that would affect dryness. Actually, I think Chambers of Zarek was the worst last league of the three
Yep.
raids to get mega rares in,
Yep.
and so like going Zaya and then like getting dry on a mega rare was just so painful. I'm glad that Jagex is fixing like the drop rates for Zaya, and that's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
part of the reason why I'm like so much more enticed. I definitely on my second account, I think I did go Zaya. I think I did go double raids regions.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really care about points. I just needed to get all the unlocks, and then I just went and like enjoyed doing Tob. I didn't even max out my combat masteries or anything because I wasn't really playing the second account for a second Dragon Rush or anything. The second account was just to have fun in raids doing
Yep.
magic. But yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's totally viable to do two accounts. You don't even have to start the second account. I think like you can take all of your learnings in the first account if you wanted to, and like, 'cause if you are going to go Dragon Rush, you can just be heads down, focused on your first account. And I think like when I was kind of done with my first account and I was just kind of like AFK training some skills, I
Mm-hmm.
started like playing like main on my second account while AFKing the first one, right? While finishing up like tasks and points, and I was able to blast through and get to like 20, 30K within a day or two.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so and then that once you get to that threshold, you're just able to kind of play the game however you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm gonna use this website by Gecko. He made a planning sheet, and we'll kind of follow through your region choices and kind of see how your sort of build slash plan turns out, and then via that we could talk about like the relics and whatnot, etc. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's throw it in there. I haven't actually put my setup yet, just because I haven't finalized it yet. So this will be
Yeah,
interesting. I'll kind of get to see it for the first time too.
yeah. So I'll put Zaya in, and then you had, what was it again? Tyrnwyn.
Yeah, Tyrnwyn and Kandarin, I think will be the three regions that I'm kind of lying towards right now. You can put in
Okay.
Kandarin maybe second. I don't know if the order matters. Yeah, currently doesn't
Yeah, what do
matter.
you think about the order? Like, if you have these three regions, what's your take on your first, second, third pick?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think I just like Zaya as a second region just because it has so much content in it.
Okay.
Uh, Tehranwyn is most likely a really good third region because a lot of the stuff like there, like okay, when you play the main game in
Mm-hmm.
Tehranwyn, you get there after Song of the Elves, so you've pretty much effectively hit base 70s,
Yeah.
and then so Tehranwyn has a bunch of stuff once you're 70 for everything to do and activity wise, right? And so I don't really care about getting Tehranwyn first for sure. It's definitely a second or third option. I think Kandarin is like a weird one where like it's kind of like a middle like filler region, and so if I pick Kandarin, it might be second or third. So yeah, I think this order is probably what I'm kind of thinking. But yeah, we can see that kind of
So,
how it goes.
what did you want as the first one, Zaya
I
or?
think Zaya. I think
Okay.
Zaya will be first. Zaya has like good enough low level stuff that I think
Yeah.
it's worth getting. Like the farming guild, you unlock at a much earlier level. I forget what level it is, like 40 or 60 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay. Pretty interesting.
45. Yeah, 45 farming, you unlock it. So I think getting that will be really nice and other things as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is a pretty solid um region combination. Like the way I look at regions, um, there's been like a bunch of YouTube videos. I try to watch as many as I can whenever I have free time, and how people put like different tier lists and whatnot. Um, I like to look at regions as like kind of like supporting regions, and then like end game regions, where end game region is like raids. Um, for me, the way I look at leagues is like I do want to play raids, right? Because that's like the new content, um, or it's a content that I haven't tried, or it's end game, like, which is probably the most fun they could have with PVM. And then I like to have like supporting regions, which kind of helps you gather items to make you very powerful in that raid. So, for example, last time when Wilderness, Asgarnia, and Desert, and my reasoning behind that was I wanted to get the Spec Relic, I wanted to get ZCB, and I just wanted to go in raids and absolutely destroy everything, you know?
Yep.
Um, so yeah, like these recent combinations are like pretty solid. Like the way I look at it, you have a solid end game region, and then you have like two powerful support regions. And Kinderin, especially this league's, is much better as a support region because you could actually use the Zenite jewelry instead of just picking Fremnik and just one click you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's just so much more value with Kandarin now. I mean, I'm also eyeing it because remember, you get the new trident from Thermi, right? Which
Yeah,
is a charge staff, and then there's a good amount of charge masteries that make them like one tick charged mage weapons, which is crazy, right?
yeah.
In addition to that, you also get all the elemental weakness masteries and stuff, and so like and because like so I won't have easy access to Wrath runes if I have access to Wrath runes at all. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm going transmute. But if
Mm-hmm.
I do, then I'll be able to like use the power of the elements and really kind of blast monsters in the mage area. So I think Kandarin is actually surprisingly a really good mage region to get.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the early on gear. I think you brought up a really good point too of like having like the support gearing regions. What's weird is like if you go Mauritania, you have the mid-level gear and like the high-level gear a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
because you get all the Barrows gears, which is effectively best in slot in the mid game for all three combat styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like Theater Blood, where you get the scythe, you get all your mega rares, and then you get like Justice Sheer armor, and so it's a pretty solid region, well rounded. I think actually Varlamore kind of fits into that category a little bit too, because you have all like the Sunfire gear from Soul as the end game, and then you'll have all of the early Moons gear from the mid game.
Yeah,
So I think the supporting gear that you need as much is like less because you have Moons now,
that's
which is
true.
pretty exciting, which we never had before. But I think it's still good to like think about what other gear you might want, especially in terms of weaponry, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's just kind of dive into like tier 1 then. Like you did a bunch of analysis videos leading up to today, etc. But talk to me about what relics you're looking to pick based on these region choices.
Yeah, so I think originally I was eyeing abundance quite a bit. Like the
Mhm.
plus 10 boost, especially if you're rushing, is so valuable to like finish off the tasks
Yeah.
that require the high levels, right? And so like I originally was really eyeing abundance. And oh, okay, let's Barbarian Gathering. I thought this is a cool relic, fun relic, but I think I would lose its novelty pretty quick for me. I
Okay.
think this is maybe one of the weakest because it's kind of like right in the middle everywhere. I'm not worried ever about gaining the strength experience. Um, I'm gonna fix agility most likely with Hotfoot, and so like the need to have that passive AFK ability is not necessary. Also, like even if you deplete a resource faster, especially for mining,
Mhm.
um, you don't get the benefit of just being able to infinitely mine here. And
Right.
so like this isn't really a mining fix in my opinion, unless you have Ascarnia, in which case you have access to Amethyst, and then it is a pretty powerful relic. But I think without having like a good mining kind of setup, you're just gonna burn iron ore really, really fast, and that's just not a fun way for me to train mining. So I think I pretty much kind of ignored Barbarian Gathering a little bit from the beginning. Um, and yeah, so I was eyeing abundance just because it was just such a power boost to early tasks. And I think if you're gonna go Dragon Rush, I think it's definitely a good contender because it gets you a good amount of early GP generation and GP generation throughout the league.
Mhm.
And it'll give you that early boost to finish a ton of tasks effectively in 33% of the XP required or 40% of the XP required, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so like that is crazy as a task booster.
Mhm.
But for me, I think the choice is actually going to be Endless Harvest.
Okay.
Um, if you listen to the end of my videos or anywhere in some of my newer videos, I kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
talk about leagues being a marathon and not a
Yep.
race, at least for me. And so
Of
I
course.
definitely want the one at relic that's going to give me the most like AFK time possibilities. And you'll see that theme kind of throughout, probably with a lot of my relic choices.
Okay.
Just being able to like AFK and grind it just so I can like I can go exercise and like be on the treadmill or be doing some
Yeah,
strength
yeah.
training and I could like keep AFK training all these things while I'm doing it. So I think Endless Harvest is going to be my T1 choice. What about you?
Yeah, that's a pretty, kind of solid summary of like all the different things. Um and yeah, Endless Harvest looks pretty good. I think when I first saw Barbarian Gathering, I thought it was like a really strong. I'm not sure how strong it is unless you could like combine it with Endless Harvest. Like, but then it requires you to kind of rush all the way to tier 7, get reloaded, and then go back to like Endless Harvest. And then if you commit to those choices, Endless Harvest and Barbarian Gathering, then you are, if you're going for like high points, you're committing to trying to get at least 50 mil in all of those stats, and hopefully also get agility to 99 at least minimum. and that could potentially open up your tier 2 choices and whatnot. But like I said, you have to go all the way up to reload and then kind of double pick T1 choices. And I do think that is pretty strong, if you look at it. I'm not sure if I want to do that, but I really really do like Endless Harvest for what you said, right? Like you just click and then you walk away for 30 minutes and you could do a ton of different things. And even with Dragon Rush, I'm very like new to it, and I see, there are people doing a ton of different things where they're like two ticking and whatnot, and they're trying to be as efficient as possible. At some point you do have to take a break. There needs to be some downtime, and having a 30-minute AFK is pretty strong. Um, but the other option, the final option, abundance, just having plus 10 allows you to just absolutely destroy the early game. Just looking at some tasks from last league, just getting those XP thresholds a lot earlier is just insane points gain, and it allows you to quickly get to the XP multipliers like faster, right? So tier 2 is times 8, and then getting to tier 5 um, is going to be a big deal for that times 12 and whatnot. So I'm personally picking abundance, and that's going to be my plan. But you said endless
Yeah.
harvest, right?
Yeah. I'm a endless harvest picker. 99% at this point. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think if you're gonna Dragon Rush, abundance is definitely the way to go. I think. I thought about it too, because like I am taking a day off from work to like go and play and start the league, which will be
Yep.
really fun. So I was like, oh, I don't really need to AFK. I'm actually gonna go hard.
Yep.
And then I realized, no, like I need to pick my choices for the whole league, not just for the day one,
You're right.
right? And I think once I made that decision, boom, it was endless harvest. I think all the way.
Cool, cool. So what are some of your thoughts on endless harvest with your regions? Like, what are you thinking about? Um, for example, like a lot of people who have Zaya, they like Barbarian, because you could go to Redwood and then just kind of like AFK there. Um, or some people also suggest like star mining, where you have like 10 minutes of AFK or whatever, however long like star mining takes. So, what's your plan with um this
Oh, with
relic?
Endless Harvest?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Like, I think I'll just pick whatever has, because remember, Endless Harvest isn't boosting how fast you gather things.
Right.
So whatever XP method is efficient in the main game is gonna be efficient in leagues. So like for wood cutting, like chopping teaks is gonna be great, because I think one of
Mm-hmm.
the big annoyances for teaks is you have to like keep switching from like one teak tree to another because they just deplete so fast, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't have to worry about that, right? And so I can just click on a teak. Same thing for iron ore. Like iron ore with endless harvest is going to be like one of the most cracked, fastest like mining methods as
Right.
well.
Right.
And so like yeah, barbarian thinks about like which one has like the most XP because of the success rate. You're going to get that to boost, right? Whereas with endless harvest, you're just looking at whatever's already efficient in the game. Um, that has a fast depletion time, you just kind of maximize that. So I think for those two, I think for fishing, it'll just be Crown Bonds because Crown Bombs are fast. You can buy the Bwanjis as many as you want.
Yep.
And then you can just sit there AFK 30 minutes. And Crown Bombs are just like great, like secondary food sources, anyways, to combo eat. So I think all three of them have a pretty straightforward. So I think, yeah, so mining is iron, fishing is Crown Bonds, and woodcutting is probably teaks.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's a solid plan. Just you know, whenever you need to AFK, just click something and walk away. Like pretty much anything is efficient and
Yeah. Oh, I
use.
forgot with Candor, I have barb fishing as well. That
Yes.
actually might be kind of nice to AFK, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could get a little bit of agility and strength from there as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I never actually thought about that because I don't think I was originally. when the tier one was spoiled, I don't think I was locked into Kandarin at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
think at this point I'm more than 50% into Kandarin right now.
Okay, nice, nice. All right, what about your tier two? What looks interesting here?
Yeah, so I think, if you watch my video, the tier two like friendly forager to me was never interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh
Yep.
I think I solved Herblore for the last two leagues without an Herblore relic. It was late in the league, but it
Mm-hmm.
was doable for sure. And so I think I never found like the need to really double dip into there. Plus now we have mastering mixology, which is like a kind of a no-brainer to me for me to not get into that one. So then I think we're left with Hotfoot and Woodsman. And I think for me, like I hate agility so much
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
training thing that like I'm just gonna pick Hotfoot and call it a day.
All right.
Um, I think Hunter, like I did like doing Herbivore, but now we don't have access to Herbivore, right?
Yeah.
And so like Woodsman is like, okay, that's kind of nice because I won't have Herbivore. Woodsman will fix Hunter, but I think my hatred for agility is just so much more. Plus with Kandarin, all the
Mm-hmm.
rooftop courses and stuff, I'd rather just have Hotfoot for that for sure.
Yeah, and I would assume like the Apatow laps are probably gonna come back, and with Hotfoot just cutting like being able to just complete the lap without going through the whole course is very, very strong for a bunch of tasks as well.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. There's just so many tasks around them that it's just like, all right, I'm gonna take it. I'm not even like too worried about like the any other like smithing is kind of solved if I pick Turanwin, right? If I were to
Mm-hmm.
pick Larcenist, right? And so like I'm not even worried about like the smithing or the cooking as much as I am like I just want to fix agility.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. And yeah, to your point about like friendly forager, it definitely feels like the weakest. I do have to think about it a little bit because last time we had a very, very strong farming relic, and I used that to get a bunch of herbs and a bunch of secondaries. And since it was like auto farming for you and auto just banking all those supplies, it made like the herb lord grind easier. So last time, trying to go for dragon, I focused on maxing, and I think this time, maxing I realize is not as important if you can get those points elsewhere. And that's why I'm looking at Woodsman um, for my tier two.
Yeah, I think Woodsman is solid. I mean, there's going to be a ton of hunter tasks because we're at the hunter guild, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, like the rewards you get from the hunter like rumors are
Yep.
actually really good, and you double them and you get to do them twice as fast, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's actually going to be really, really powerful. So I actually think that like reward wise, the hunter one is really good. I think the agility one is more like money per hour. Like Woodsman
Mm-hmm.
hunter rewards will give you some money, but like the 10K you get from the rooftop courses and the worm course for the termites will be more money overall. Um, but yeah, I think those rewards are actually fantastic. So yeah, definitely a solid choice.
All right, I'm gonna lock in Hotfoot for you. Yeah, yeah. The money games, especially early on, like we're all gonna be pretty broke. We all got to figure it out. So just having some supply of money coming in would be very nice. Um, yeah, let's move on to tier three. So we only have two options here, and we don't know what the third one is. But what are your initial thoughts about these two in tier three?
Mhm. Yeah, the teleport relics this time around. I mean, last league we had Flu Compass, which was the most
Yeah,
cracked goddamn teleport relic to ever exist in the game. Because like Clue Compass was effectively tier three and tier four in this league combined with the
yeah,
conniving clues teleport. Like that was so cracked that like both of these just look so weak. Like I'm kind of hoping that tier three has like a mini reloaded as the last option, and so I can just pick a tier one or tier two relic instead of the teleports.
yeah, yeah.
It's almost like that's how I feel about them overall, honestly. Um, I think if you're gonna do PVM content, Evil Eye's a no-brainer. Like I think you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned you're gonna go Wilderness, and
Mm-hmm.
like Wilderness and Asgarnia, like just instantly teleporting to all those bosses that you have in your region is definitely the power pick. So I think if you have a region with a lot of bosses, with a lot of CAs, right? Remember, because it's teleports to bosses with CAs, so you can't teleport to the crap, for example,
Yeah.
right? But as Asgarnia and Wilderness, both of your regions actually have tons of bosses, and I assume you're going to do tons of bossing because you want to get all the challenges and all the drops
Yep.
and the
Yep.
combat achievements. And so I think Evil Eye is going to be really solid for people who have those regions. I think Map of Alacrity, just you just need to look at your regions and determine how many good teleports are there. What is annoying is like because it brings you to agility shortcuts, like I'll have fixed agility with Hotfoot, right?
Yeah.
And so like
Right.
that actually makes Map of Alacrity better because I'm able to go through the damn shortcut and get to the other side of whatever I need to get to. And so I think that's gonna be a nice combination for people who pick Hotfoot. So I guess for now it's like Map of Alacrity. I'm honestly hoping that the other third choice is just better than both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not super excited about either of them. I think if my regions had more bosses, I'd pick Evil Eye. But I think right now, based off of my regions, I'll pick Map of Alacrity.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah. I feel you on that one, and I see the synergy between Hotfoot and Map of Alacrity. Um, And yeah, I'm kind of like the same way. Like, I'm just like, yeah, they're both like solid. There's nothing that's like fully sold me to one or the other, and I'm just hoping the third one is just just better, something like a really really strong. Um, but I think Evil Eye is the one that I'm like thinking of the most because yeah, like all the wilderness bosses, even in Kinderin, there's just like small teleports that like get you to certain locations that are pretty nice. And actually, um, a good combo that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, and maybe it's just because I'm also not too familiar with a lot of different things, so I just randomly look things up. Is that Woodsman actually gives you the whistle? And I was looking at this whistle, and it says you do not lose any charges. So I was looking at different locations, and there's a whistle next to a bank. So you could combo going to a bank with Evil Eye, or you could do house teleport and kind of use it as a last recall type or total recall. I guess it would be last recall since total recall like refreshed everything, and last recall a couple leagues ago just brought you back after you had like some way to get your spec energy, get your prayer and things like that. So I think I'm looking forward to Evil Eye for bossing, and I'm hoping the third one is just better. That's kind of like the
Yeah.
idea.
No, I agree. I think it just you look at your regions and someone made a tool that has like really good like all the map teleports on one map.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I think you can just look at that, look at your regions and just kind of pick. But yeah, if you're gonna be bossing, I think Eli is a no-brainer. I think for now just map of alacrity and pray that the third choice is really powerful too.
Yeah. I think the main thing with the teleport is you want to be close to like a bank, just so that you could easily get to your bank quickly, and then maybe some sort of restoring your uh like for example, like if you go desert, you can take the elite diary uh amulet, I believe, and you could just like fully regen everything at the altar.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a great option if you're gonna go desert. I thought about that when it came out, and I'm like, wait, I'm never going desert. I'm not even gonna consider it. But you're absolutely right. I think Evil Eye has that mini recall effect with your pool, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think the biggest thing people forget is that like we do have access to like the the stonemason in Varlamore, so you
Okay.
actually can build a lot of components for the house pool. I
Mm-hmm.
don't
Mm-hmm.
remember if you have access to everything that you need to build a max pool,
Yeah.
but you can at least build like some of the few basic pools in the game as well. So I think that's going to be pretty nice to have for sure to power Evil Eye.
Nice, nice. So yeah, I'll put map for you there. Okay, so fourth, tier four, you did a video on this yesterday. I think just about Butler's spell, but did you do a video on transmutation?
No, I did not. I think transmutation just requires a lot more analysis.
Okay, yeah.
But all right, so I've talked about it, and I think, all
Yeah.
right, maybe that's not fair. Uh, and you're catching me in the raw
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
area. So I think everyone is like, oh my God, transmutation is crazy.
Mhm.
Transmutation is absurd. It's like amazing, and so on. And when I saw it originally, I was like, holy crap, that is cracked. I
Yeah.
can have access to all the high level resources. Um, as I've been watching more videos and thinking more about it, the
Mhm.
number one problem here is in order to transmute to the highest level resource, you still have to gather the lowest level resource a ton of
Yep.
it,
Yep.
right? Like if I wanted to have like a ton of superior dragon bones, I need to pick up and bank a ton of basic bones,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, like I think the giants bosses drop like noted big bones or something, but like again, it's like
Okay.
there's no easy place where you would just collect tons of bones, right?
Mhm.
And so like that is a painful aspect, right? Now, when it comes to mining, you can't do like the smithing lot like bars, and so like you still, even if you were to convert to runite, all you would do with that is just sell it for money, right? And so mining's kind of dead. With fishing, you still have to cook it. Luckily, with Hotfoot, you'll never fail. Um, but that's okay. And then, also like with the seeds, you still need a good source for seeds. So like I
Yeah.
know you said you were picking woodsman, it's like with Woodsman, you can convert all of your seeds into the ones that you want, which is really powerful. But if
Yeah.
someone doesn't pick Woodsman, they still need another source for seeds, right?
Mhm.
Um, I think compost is like the easiest no-brainer because you can just always have ultra compost because it's free. Um, and then there's like the other like gems and other things, which is
Mhm.
nice because it like gives you a crafting solve because everyone has access to the gem shop, so you can just go and just buy all the uncut gems. Once you get to the level that you can cut diamonds, just level everything up to diamonds, and then when you get up to the level that you can cut dragon stones, just buy all the dragon stones and do the same thing. So I think the uncut gems and the compost are two really powerful ones. I think the rune one is really nice, but that's mainly for combat, right? Because
Mhm.
getting access to wrath runes to do the highest level wrath, like I think it's surge or whatever the spell is at the end,
Right,
um,
yep.
is good. But like ashes, bones, it seems really cool, but you need to pick up and loot that drop, right? And so I think that's why I think transmutation is actually a total bait relic. I think
Okay, okay.
with Golden God, you just needed to go to the shop, and because you have unlimited shopscape, you can just buy items to
Yeah,
help,
yeah.
right? In this case, you can't buy a lot of these things. The ones you can buy, it's easy, right? The ones you
Mhm.
can buy runes, you can buy gems. Those two are no-brainers. But you can't really buy bones. You can't really buy seeds. You can't. Okay, with fish you can buy it, but you still have to cook it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think transmutation is a pretty big bait relic. And that's part of the reason I didn't want to put out a video is I felt like everyone was so hyped about this, and I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
this is one of those relics that's like pure utility,
Yeah.
but you need the resources to fix the skills anyways. And so it doesn't inherently fix any skills, it just gives you utility. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that would be considered like a hot take if you just made a video
Hmm.
and whatnot. But yeah, there's I, this relic is very interesting, just because it's so unique and there's so many different applications of what you could do with it. But the thing is that actually like helping you with a bunch of points, or is it helping you um gather resources for like a particular reason, or like what is the actual um like gains per se from this relic? All the other ones are like straightforward, right? Like
Mhm.
hot foot, it's going to give you agility, it's going to help you get to 99 and make your life easier. Friendly forager, you're going to get a ton of herb lords, you're going to have herb lord saved. It's going to help you get to herb lore fast. um, Transmutation, of course, is giving you magic, it's giving you magic XP. And one of the main arguments is that you could just AFK, get uh sort of 200 mil magic, right? That's like one of the side talks for this relic, for like combat, right? So we have like
Yep.
new tasks.
Yeah, you
uh
have the 200 mil combat and 200 mil non-combat task. Yep.
yeah, so that is like one thing it helps with, okay. um but the other thing is just very hard to pinpoint like what is good, because you have to do it, right? It's not like the other stuff where you're like passively gaining it or something like that. It's like, okay, you have to get these seeds, and you have to get those specific seeds, right? Because I believe you can't just convert herb seeds into like flower seeds, for example. You have to
Yep.
get herb seeds and then convert them to Raynar, Snapdragon, or specific ones for like super combat and whatnot. Um, so yeah, like I don't know. This one requires like more thinking, more discussion to kind of see how good it is. Um,
Yeah, I think a lot of people right now are like theory crafting and trying to explore all the methods.
yeah,
Let's see in the next like 2, 3, 4 days, like if people come out with anything.
yeah,
My hunch right now is people actually won't come out with something.
okay,
Because even
yeah,
though like there are cracked methods, like I think it fixes like the few things we said. I would say that like magic is such a fast skill to level and it's AFKable, right? Like we have the
mm,
gemstone crab. You just go there with your runes. You have like the resource save in your tree, right?
oh yeah,
And
yeah,
you just kind of like AFK and just smack crab um, till you get to 99. And then like I think whichever like combat style you master, whether it's magic, ranger, melee, like one of those you will eventually hit 200 mil. Now, if
mm-hmm.
you're going for the dragon rush, okay, like it is there. But remember, like the XP you get from high alching is way lower than like high level magic training. Like if
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
to unlock Ice Barrage,
yeah,
whether it's through Grimoire or like Desert and unlocking ancient magics, that is like absurd amounts of XP per hour, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so you can 99 and 200 mil with that way better than you could with the AFK-ness of it. Yes,
mm-hmm.
in this situation, you will eventually hit like the 200 mil for sure. But I think even for a rusher, it's like it's not going to be that fixed, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this tier is very interesting, right? Because all they showed was the clue relic, and um, the clue relic is what I would consider like one of like the staples of leagues, because clues just have inherently like a ton of points. And it's almost like mandatory if you want to get to like dragon to pick up clues. Um, and what they did with the clue relic this time is like, like when they were first teasing a bunch of relics, everything felt like it was the old relics but nerfed, right? So clues felt like they were like nerfed, like this relic, because you can no longer teleport. But a lot of people seem to forget that last time you actually needed two different relics in order to make clues really good, right? We had the
Yep.
clue teleport alongside with the clue relic, to really boost those points. Um,
Yeah, I think this clue relic is I think plenty powerful enough.
mm-hmm.
The teleports are nerfed, but the way I see it is like it's like a buy one get one free
Yep.
because when you do a clue, you'll get a couple of those clue contracts to teleport, right? Um, and I think if you look at the number that you get, it'll be about the amount of the number of steps of that level of clue.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you do like, let's say you do like a medium clue and you get like two or three, like I think three like contracts from it. Well, the next
Mm-hmm.
medium clue you get will might have three steps, I think, and then you'll just be able to like click, 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 and just teleport and get it done. So I think like from that perspective, the Clue Relic is pretty balanced, I think. I mean, Clue Compass, like I said, was just absolutely broken.
Yeah.
But with that, I think the Clue Relic is really, really well balanced. Yeah, if you can't tell, like Butler's Bell was also from my video. Like I think it was a solid pick, but it was for like the ultra AFK
Yeah.
gamers, and so like yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards the Clue Relic. You're absolutely right. I agree with you on like there are so many tasks behind it. Also like in order to finish clues, one of the biggest hurdles is having the items to
Yeah.
do the clue, right?
Yep.
For the remote relics. And so like the fact that you don't need to do that is
Mm-hmm.
an immense amount of like savings of like effort and time. Because I know I didn't actually pick the clue relic aside from Clue Compass last league. And so I just ended up like opening
Yep.
clues and dropping clues
Yeah.
along the way. It's like, oh, don't have this item, drop it, go to the next one, right?
Yeah.
And just keep doing that. Whereas now we won't have to worry about that, and I think that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, like I'm also picking Zaya, so I'll have access to like the Mimic, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which will also be really nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that the Mimic becomes like an extra reward as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's nice to have that as an option for clues as well.
Yeah, I think like the Clue Relic. I don't think it's in like necessarily nerfed. I think it is balanced, but yeah, because you don't need those emote steps, so you don't need to gather the items for them. I think it's very strong, and like the main selling point to this Clue Relic is just the points. Um, and Butler's Bell, I mean, I was looking at some of the math. I don't have it right now, but like this is like so much like resources, and also if you tell the I believe you have to tell the butler to process things and then you get a little bit of XP, but those are also another source of passive XP. And if you're kind of in that AFK mindset, and if you want to play for like a long term, if you're going to play like a month or so, Butler Spell is a pretty solid option too.
Yeah, Butler's is like I think you earlier mentioned you meant like you said something like dad to dragon,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dad mode dragon or something like that. So I
Yeah.
think Butler's is definitely that because you're right. The XP you get is good, and you can actually hit 50 mil crafting um, with Butler's Bell just as AFK because the flax and the spinning of it is just so much experience actually in
Mhm.
comparison to everything else because you get 50 per minute and then you get 20 or and then you get 20 or so you get 25 per minute, 25 bowstrings per minute times 60 minutes times 24. It comes
Yeah.
out to like 5 mil XP per day. So like
Yeah.
in 10 days you would hit your 50 mil requirement um
It's
to hit that
crazy.
like 50 mil all things, right? So
Yeah.
like the crafting one is this solves crafting like crazy. The thing is, compared to like the Pocket Kingdom, you can only choose one at a time here, right?
Mhm.
Which is one thing. Um, the fishing into cooked fish one is nice, but it's better for you to just get the raw fish and just cook it yourself. I think it's just way faster XP per hour. But then you have to burn the guy. So like there's some trade-offs with Butler's Bell. I think it's really good for you to play a nice, slow, long league for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really well rounded. I think my biggest caveat is like in order to pick Butler's Bell, I have to sacrifice clues, and I think that is not a trade-off I'm willing to make. If
Yeah.
Butler's Bell was like against different relics, I think it would be more enticing. But
Mhm.
because I have to give up clues, I think it's a lot less enticing for me.
Okay. So I'll lock in clues for you. Also, we'll just kind of um focus on your relic selection, and I'll just kind of give you my thoughts just so that we don't spend too much time. Um
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. And I'm also just unsure about this tier. Like I actually don't know. Um Also, like coming up, I don't know too much about this tier as well because I didn't have time to look too deep into Soul Harvest. Um,
Mhm.
and since yesterday they did a massive reveal, and I kind of just spent a lot of time talking about combat masteries, and I would definitely love to talk to you about that as well a little bit. But for tier 5, like, what are you thinking with your region choices? You have quite a bit to consider here.
Yeah, so like because I have Zaya,
Mm-hmm.
I actually think Zaya fixes farming for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, the farming guild is just so good. You can just do a bunch of planting and a bunch of farming contracts and get it done. Like it's gonna be a lot slower than farming, and farming definitely won't be my 200 mil experience kind of skill
Yeah.
without Nature's Accord. But I'm okay with that. Like I can slowly and eventually get to 50 mil,
Mm-hmm.
and that's perfectly fine. That works for me. So I think Nature's Accord for me is just out. So Larcenous is really interesting because Larcenous allows me to blast crafting and smithing with Tehranwyn, right?
Yep.
I can do the crystal shards with the thieving. So Larcenous is 99 thieving, 99 smithing, 99 crafting, and also like 50 mil in all of those super easily. And it's 200 mil in one of them easily as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so like to me, Larcenous was my pick in the tier 5 relic until Soul Harvest came out.
Yeah.
And this might be a little bit of a spoiler to reload it at tier 7.
Okay.
But I think Soul Harvest is really important for solving rune crafting. And then it also solves prayer, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna go for that 50 mil all skills task and 99 rune crafting, I think without Soul Harvest, it would just be really painful. Now, for me, because I have Zaya, I do have AFK blood altar crafting. Like if I really
Yeah.
wanted to, I could like AFK painfully and slowly to 99 and runecraft.
Yeah.
If it's like the last task I need to like get to the end for
Mm.
dragon tier, um, if I even want the points. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's like, is it fun and is it worth it? Or like, because I
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
care so much about the trophy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, well, I'll keep doing it or I won't. Just and it also depends on like if
Mm-hmm.
IRL I got a lot of things going on. Um,
There's
but I
also
do think
teleports. The agility shortcut teleports. I don't know how good it is, but
yes, there's
potential.
one at the bottom at Shiloh's village to get to the nature's
Oh,
altar, and then
yeah.
I'm sure there's other agility shortcuts. Oh,
Oh, at
you're
blood.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The agility shortcut to the blood altar. Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. Um, yeah, I think that's a good point. I actually didn't think about that with Zaya with Map of Alacrity. Ooh, Map
Yeah.
of Alacrity actually kind of fixes. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad we're
Potential.
talking
Potential.
about this.
Yeah.
Potential,
Yeah.
potential for sure. At least it cuts out the run, so it becomes a little bit less AFK, a little bit more active.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, definitely something to consider. But okay, so Soul Harvest is like absolutely cracked. And
Yeah.
I talked about this in my video today
Okay.
because I just reviewed Soul Harvest. And so what's nice is based off of the video, you auto convert the bones into soul shards into
Mm-hmm.
your inventory,
Yep.
right? And like it's painful to pick up bones and bank it, right? We were talking about transmutation at tier 4.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
pick up and bank all the bones and then you have to convert them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is a painful process in my opinion. And so like Soul Harvest just becomes an auto ashes and bones looter for you,
Yeah.
right? And actually I think that's actually a really nice quality of life. And then you can use it to both fix prayer and rune crafting. I think at this point I haven't fixed prayer with any of my other abilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like prayer is like painful to get to 50 mil, but easy enough in a league to get to 13-ish mil usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have like I'll have access to Hydra Bones, right? Um, and so like that will probably be a good resource for me to
Oh
level
yeah.
up my prayer. Plus
Mm.
Varlamore has the AFK prayer training method as well. And so like I'm just thinking like Perilous Moons will get me to like high 80s and 90s, and then whatever bosses I kill with like Hydra and everything else will get me to the 99 for
Mm-hmm.
prayer if I
Yeah.
don't take Soul Harvest. So yeah, I think right now I'm between Soul Harvest and Larcenist.
Mm-hmm.
I think for now, I think I'm just gonna lock in Soul Harvest as my first pick.
Okay.
Here at tier 5.
Okay. Yeah. I think you know. what I was saying like earlier from last leagues, my most memorable thing was like fighting Zuck. The my other most memorable thing was a rune crafting and trying to get 99 rune crafting. Um, even with total recall, was like the worst thing I had to experience in leagues. Like it was absolutely awful, and having a runecraft solve and like so it's like such an easy runecraft solve, like this is easily like 50 mil runecraft. It's just so nice for points if you are trying to go for dragon, if you are trying to push points. um it's just really cool. Like I really do like that relic. And same thing with Larcenous. Larcenous is also really really nice because it gives you that AFK if you haven't picked anything to AFK. And especially with turn when you can combo it with elves, pickpocketing elves, and trying to get your crafting and smithing up with singing bowl. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think like both are really powerful. I think like I mean we still have four more relics to tease and find
Mm-hmm.
out, right? And so if one of those like fixes prayer in some way, I think Soul Harvest, like the stocks of Soul Harvest go down for me,
Yeah.
and then I'm like Larcenist. But I think right now I think they're both really really solid picks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Soul Harvest is kind of my first pick, and the reason why Soul Harvest first as well is because it helps you fix prayer earlier on at
Mm-hmm.
tier 5, right? So even if I was going to reload, I don't need like I can once I get soul harvest and I can level up my prayer easily, I can now go do other content. And then I can always just come back for larcenous if that's my play at reloaded. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty solid plan. Um yeah, what do you think about the next tier? Now we have a missing tier, so we only have two, but it's the Grim War versus the Culling Spray.
Yeah, so there's like a people think of this as like the utility tier,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's two different aspects to it, right? So Culling Spree actually does slightly fix and benefit Slayer from an
Okay.
XP perspective because you do
Yeah.
get the double superiors. So you do get a slightly boosted XP rate for Slayer. So that's actually a skill solve a little bit
Mm-hmm.
with Culling Spree. Whereas like Grimoire doesn't really have anything. Like it gives you access to more spells, but like you can already use whatever spells you have in the standard spell book to 99.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're choosing transmutation, then you can just you do that to 50 mil,
Yeah.
right? So Calling Spree does actually have that benefit. In addition to that, it also gives you another clue source, which Conniving Clues doesn't actually give you a clue source, whereas this one does.
Right,
I
right. Yep.
think, right? Unless you chance to have a. Oh
Um,
no, Conniving Clues does give you a clue source because it gives you more clues from everything. Yeah,
oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
I
I
forgot about that.
but getting elite clue scrolls is kind of a pain.
True, true. And so
So,
like I think it's still a nice kind of fix.
yeah.
Um, so I think so there is a little bit of skilling utility to this one. However, I think this tier is primarily like more damage. Um, and so if you look at
Mm-hmm.
Grimoire, it's gonna give you access to all the prayer unlocks. And so like if you're not going Zaya and Kandarin, which ironically for me, I am going Zaya and Kandarin,
Yeah.
you don't have access to all the maximum prayers, which remember, like all your maximum prayers, they just amplify at the total on top of whatever relics or sorry, demonic packs you pick in the
Yeah.
masteries. And so that's like a flat, like, talking in Path of Exile terms, that's a flat like 10-15% more damage multiplier
Right,
across the
right.
board, right? So I think if you don't have regions for your prayer unlocks, Grimoire is good. I wouldn't pick it just to have access to Ancients or Lunars or Archaea spellbooks by any
Mm-hmm.
means. I would pick it mostly primarily for the prayer and then have like the secondary side benefit of the Grimoire aspect of it. So that is nice. Whereas Calling Spree, and the slightly annoying bit of Calling Spree is that you have to like go and find the task and be on task,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
do get that added Slayer Helm, right? So the Slayer Helm effects do stack with set effects, so I can stack it with my full crystal armor, and get double
Oh, yeah.
benefits when I'm on task. Like let's say I'm doing Hydra, right? I
Yeah, yeah.
can have culling spree on top of full crystal, and have that benefit, which is pretty sick. And
Mm-hmm.
don't forget, like I get the crystal blessing, so it affects my melee gear, right, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so there is a nice damage boost. So I think it's really the comparison of like, do you want the Slayer Helm damage or do you want like the prayer damage? I think for most people, the prayer damage is just flat out better because it
Mm-hmm.
like you can use your prayers all the time, whereas Slayer requires on task. Not all raid bosses can be killed on task, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't get that benefit. But I think based off of my regions, I'm leaning Culling Spree. I'm kind of just hoping there's another really cool, powerful third option here, that might also be a good pick. I think I'm like holding out for all these like missing hidden relics, thinking that they're going to be super powerful. Maybe
Yeah.
except for I guess like the last two tiers, but at least tier 3 and tier 6. I think Culling Spree, like they both look okay, but I'm hoping that the last one's going to be a big mix up.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think, based on your regions, it's just a very easy choice, like picking Culling Spray. And just Slayer Helmet, just picking if you don't want to do that task, you can just um pick like a low kill count and just like blast through it. Or if you want to like just stay on task for a very long time, you could pick 200 and um get a ton of XP for both Slayer and whatever combat that you choose to do. um
Yep.
I think like the main thing with Grimoire, like in the past, um or even like as like a new player, a lot of people like overvalue ancients, I would say, um for like various random things. And even myself, because I had desert, I didn't have to worry about it. But I look at things where I'm like, oh, I haven't done this, so I like try to figure out like, oh, well, like what does this guide say? Like, what do I need? Do I need ancients? Do I need like specific things? And ancients is very powerful in, for example, like doing Zuck for like the nibblers, or like Coliseum for just like one little thing. But then again, I watch like other people do Coliseum and they just do like pure melee and like a range, like everything, and they do it with like really, really, um, what's it called? Like maybe like mid tier gear. And it's very hard for me, especially, or like new players, to understand like power spikes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like in Path of Exile, since I played it a lot, I know the power spike. I know like how much I need to do specific bosses. But in OSRS, since I don't focus on it a lot and I don't know how good gear is, um, and how like the relics kind of overlap with the gear that's available, I don't know how much power we have besides like, oh, I'm powerful.
Yeah, I think the other part that people really over index on ancient magics is like the AoE aspect of it, because like
Yeah,
in RuneScape, there's only a few things that do AoE anything, right?
yeah.
It's ancient magics, it's chins, like some random items like Din's Bulwark AoE spec and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, there's really no AoE aspect in the game, and so like that's why ancient magics are so highly valued.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in leagues, like you get AoE and other benefits from like all of your other combat masteries or demonic packs and such. And so like you don't need it as much.
Mm-hmm.
Also like your max hits in your other like combat styles or like a 2 minute in shadow is a lot better. So I think you're right. People like think about like, oh, in the main game you do need ancient magics, right? Being able to like do AoE, being able to freeze is important. And don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, like in my second builds last league, I did do Grimoire so I could have access to ancient magics without unlocking Desert,
Mm-hmm.
just so I could do free spells in Tob, right? Like that was, but that was like an intentional, very targeted build,
Yeah.
to do that exact role. And so like I was just going into like crazy speed run raids because I was like so fast and good at all the freezes and everything else. and all the mage at Nilo's that I was just like blasting it, and people wanted me. And there's so few people who are majors um, who had Mauritania last league. And
Mm-hmm.
so like I think that was really cool. But I think aside from that, I think the general public just needs to remember that like yeah, the spells are cool, but you also have good spells. And remember, like the standard spellbook got buffed with the elemental weakness. And
Right.
there was a second patch of elemental weaknesses introduced recently as well. And so I think it's really important to understand that when thinking about your choices. So that's why I was saying like it's really a damage comparison of like the Slayer Helm and being on task versus the prayer benefits you're getting from Grimoire. Everything else is I think gravy and utility overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Culling's pretty solid here. Grimoire, maybe if you want like extra damage boost and you don't have access to Zaya or Kandarin, and you want to have that powerful feel, um, you could choose Grimoire, or even if you have Mortinia, you could have the Slayer Helm, and you don't have to worry um,
Yep.
about Culling Spree as much.
Yeah, and not only is it the Slayer Helm, you also have the Slayer Tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like you have access to some more Slayer training methods, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and so like that does help a lot. So yeah, I think it's a pretty region dependent pick. And so like I know I was eyeing the region specifically to Grimoire, but you're absolutely right. Like Mauritania and Culling Spree is like, okay, well you have the Slayer Helm, don't worry about necessarily getting it everywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tier 7. We only have one relic to look at, and it's a very short description. Um, what are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, I mean, well, I have to pick it because that's the only option on the board right now.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really curious, like, if tier 7 comes back as like Golden God or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that changes it up for me maybe from
Okay.
picking like Soul Harvest,
Okay.
or something like that. But I like it really depends on what skills benefit from the tier 7 relic choice. If it's
Yeah.
Banker's Note, I probably don't go Banker's Note,
Mm-hmm.
honestly speaking. I think I'd rather go Soul Harvest than Banker's Note and then reload into something else.
Okay.
Um, because if you look at like the combat tree, so Banker's Note was a couple things, right? Banker's Note was a ton of food
Yeah.
to eat in raids and bosses, right? It was also really fast, like rune crafting training. It was, and then it was just really fast anything else training that you could just note and like
Yeah.
process relatively quickly. Um, but most of those other skills are mainly fixed with whatever else relics you pick and are in the game. And
Yep.
so it's
Yep.
like now it's you're left with like to me it's like food and rune crafting. And so this is where like Soul Harvest I think is really good, where it fixes prayer and food. Sorry, prayer and rune crafting.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm thinking like this last relic would have to be an absolute like banger across the skills that I'm having gaps in,
Yeah.
for me to pick it. Otherwise, I think it's reloaded into Larcenist if I'm picking
Okay.
Soul Harvest at tier 5. Larcenist is just so good. Like AFK thieving, right? Going back to like what we started talking about at tier 1, where I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
like my AFK relics, right? It's another AFK relic. It's thieving. It's really busted with Tronwyn, given that it just completely solves smithing and crafting for me. Um, so I think it's for me, it's yeah, lock in that larcenist.
A larcenist. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense with what's available out there. Um, where are this? So yeah, you have endless harvest, right? And you that
Mhm.
takes care of a bunch of your gathering skills. You have hotfoot to help out with agility and cooking. On top of that, that combos really well with your gathering. So fishing plus cooking is handled via hotfoot as well. Um, and then soul harvest, that's going to be a massive prayer and rune crafting solve. And then larcenous, thieving, smithing, and crafting. It's just like so many things you've already taken care of. And then now, like the rest, you just kind of have to do them regularly, but with time 16 XP. So you have a bunch of different options, and for the most part, like fletching is pretty easy. Combat, you're gonna get that done, no
Oh yeah,
problem.
fletching
Um,
is solved. I think this is must be a bug with the tool or something. Because once you get Culling Spree,
mhm.
all the rewards are free, right?
Oh, broad
From
fletching, yeah.
the yeah, or is it just the rewards, or is it the items as well? I forget.
Let's take a look. So it says the rune. You can purchase any of the Slayer reward store perks for free, and then you
Okay,
get
okay.
the 3 rune pouch herb sack looting bag for free.
Okay, okay, got it. Never mind. Otherwise, I was gonna say, you can purchase like infinite broad arrows,
Yeah.
for fletching and broad bullets, and that's like super AFK chill easy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind then. I still think it's a little bit nice because it early unlocks the broader fletching and all the other aspects of it. So it's nice. But yeah, fletching is such a fast skill. And remember, like going back to Varlamore, right? Like you have veil totems. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be chopping and banking the logs with endless harvest anyways, right? I'm not auto burning them.
Mm-hmm.
For fire making, you're just solved with Winter Tide, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Zaya solves
Zaya.
fire making easily, so I don't need to burn any of the logs that I bank with endless harvest.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I can just go ahead and just fletch them and use them with veil totems and
Mm-hmm.
solve fletching. So fletching is like super fast and easy. Like I said, Zaya has the farming guilds, the farming contracts, and doing that. Remember, farming contracts also give a ton of good seeds as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
That's
that's
right.
nice to like kind of go infinite with your seeds there. And then hunter, that's just gonna be a little bit painful, but you just do it to with the hunter contracts, or the hunter rumors with the
Yeah.
hunters guilds. And then construction is also fast. It's just making the planks is slow.
Yeah.
And I won't have plank make, so I'll just have to go and purchase the planks manually. I'm kind of hoping that the third teleport relic has something nice.
Yeah.
Um, for it, and then I can just quickly do it. I don't know if like the jumping over the style. No, that's never mind. That's in Varrock. That doesn't count. Maybe there's a good shortcut for the sawmill. Otherwise, there is a sawmill in the woodcutting guild
Woodcutting guild.
in
Yeah.
in Zaya, and so like that might be like my closest run and plank make kind of
Yeah.
solution there.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if it'll be available, but what is that construction mini game where you mahogany homes?
Oh, mahogany
I
homes.
believe that's available in Zaya, right?
Yes, there is a person who can give you contracts in Zaya. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. That should be a way to kind of AFK train it. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to make steel bars easily too with Hotfoot.
With
So
Hafa, yeah. Oh
yep,
yeah,
yeah, that should be
that's
a pretty good process.
yeah, it's another smithing solve, but I guess it's not really solve. Actually, let me ask you about this. Like a lot of people say solve when they talk about particular skills. Like what does solve mean to you when they talk about like this relic solves the skill?
Yeah, to me, so this is interesting. I was watching Foe's stream the other day, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Solve is like done in 5 minutes."
Okay.
And I don't necessarily agree with him that much. Like
Yeah.
I'm okay. Like to me, solved is like done in a couple of hours. Like something that like 10x's your speed at which you could complete that skill,
Mhm.
whatever that is, right? Um, and so like let's say it takes you like, 20 hours to max a skill. If you
Yeah.
can do it in 2 hours, to me that's effectively a solve. Um, some people might consider 2 hours too long and not a solve. But
Yeah.
like for example, like let's take thieving and larcenist. I think that's a great example.
Mhm.
Like thieving, like you can only thieve and pickpocket so fast, right? But
Right.
you stop failing, and so like you click it, you go AFK, you come back in 30 minutes, you click it again, and you keep doing that for a couple hours, and then now all of a sudden you got 50 mil XP,
Yeah.
right? And so like it's not an instantaneous solve. Like if you remember the farming relic last league, which had the instant grow,
Yeah, yeah.
or if you look at like soul harvest here with rune crafting, that is like an instant solve. Five
Yeah.
minutes later, you are 99 rune crafting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
With it, which is absolutely absurd. So I think there is that level of solve. I think for me, there's like a minimum threshold of like does it 10x that skill for me? And to
Mm-hmm.
me, that's like the solve. So any skill that's boosted like that is crazy good. Um, Even agility is to me effectively a solve because even though agility is going to be more than just a couple of hours, right,
Mm-hmm.
to hit max and 50 mil XP, it's still 10x to what the base like time is to get to that same XP, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that's the definition of solve for me.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think for me, solve means like getting 50 mil in that skill as like efficiently, or it doesn't necessarily have to be fast, but it's mainly the aspect of getting 50 mil like easily. Um so like for example, like larcenous is like the best example, right? Like thieving, you're gonna get 50 mil, and if if you want, you could even push it to 200 mil if the other skills, um non-combat skills, aren't helping you get to 200 mil. Larcenous will help you get there over time, just AFKing. um and of course, yeah, like soul harvest that you pointed out, that's like sort of like, not last year's relic, but like the first relic, or like maybe like two relics, or sorry, 2 leagues ago, where they brought the farming relic, which is like instant grow. You
Mhm.
pretty much got like 200 mil instantly, or with golden god, you kind of solve construction like almost instantly. Um so I think solve, in my opinion, it should be you're gonna get 50 mil in that particular skill using this relic.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look about it, right? And I think you said the same thing a little bit that I was saying, right?
Yeah,
Is it easy enough to do
yeah,
it, right? And I
exactly.
think that's what I'm looking for too, is like, do you make that skill no longer a chore? And even
Yeah,
if it is a chore, is it just a short-term chore,
yeah.
right? And I think if that's the case, then to me that skill is solved. Absolutely. Yeah, agree.
Okay, let's talk about the last tier. Like all the other tiers, they're kind of related to skilling. And some of them are giving you utility beyond that, like teleports and a little more damage. But the last tier is always the most, oh, this is what I want to get towards. Do you have that feeling with these last tier 8 relics?
Yeah, so I think last time I was like so gung ho about Last Stand, right? I'm
Yeah.
a big believer in like leagues is the place to learn and
Yeah.
like train and like build that model where you can like learn. And so like neither of these two really have that defense. Like
Mm-hmm.
Flask of Fervor is much closer to like Undying Retribution, and like to me it's purely an offensive kind of relic as opposed to a defensive of any kind. And remember, we still have one relic missing, and I'm
Yep.
really fingers crossed that it's defensive. Um, but I think both of these are really, really kind of juicy. So like Flask of Fervor, and I did do a review video on this one
Mm-hmm.
where it is an absurd amount of damage,
Yeah.
and even the ability to like regenerate your flask is going to be crazy,
Yeah.
especially now that we've seen the sheer power of like the new like demonic packs combat mastery.
Yeah.
If you saw my video and I talk about like your regeneration time, right? I said you can get the 3 minutes down to about a minute with like a normal like 2 tick fast weapon, and then it just depends on what your mastery is going to be like. I actually think your cooldown for the flask is going to be like 30 seconds against big bosses. And so like when you're fighting like Zuck and some other things, you probably will be able to get 2 uses out of it, right? Just remember that like the fights are going to be so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, like you may not have the time to actually get 2 charges off in a single boss, right? Because
Right.
most bosses don't have a lot of HP. Um, but in some fights, you will get like 2 or 3 uses out of it, just purely I think 3 might be a stretch, but you'll probably get 2 uses out of it on a boss once you're fully maxed out,
Mm-hmm.
right? But again, it's a fully offensive relic. What's nice is like you click it for 2.4 seconds, you can miss a prayer or make a mistake. but most importantly, like it's not reactive. It's not going to go off when you make a mistake. It's not going to give you that defense.
Yeah.
So I think Flask is really nice. I think like you went specialist
Yeah.
the last league, and so I think like the Flask is going to be like your fun kind of play for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's also cool, like if you go into like the Karen dungeon, if you're doing Slayer and you're doing AoE, you can just go in and like erase a group of Dust Devils and then
Yeah.
like go over to the next side and then like kill them and then come back and then just erase an entire group. So like
Mm-hmm.
this actually kind of secretly solves Slayer if you have multi-combat areas.
Yeah.
Because the 180 damage pretty much kills any monster
It's
that
pretty
you could.
insane.
Yeah, it's cracked. And so like this does secretly kind of help you kill monsters really, really fast. So I think Flask is a pretty cool contender. I'm not so keen on it just because I always try to look for a defensive mechanism. Um, and so I guess let's talk about Minion. Like what's nice about Minion is it's always going to be that constant damage. I'm going Taranwin, and so like I'm able to use the Minion inside CG, which is really
Oh, that's
nice,
true. Yeah.
right? And so like that's a nice constant damage boost. When you're doing any sort of PVM content, so let's say you're doing like Suck and Inferno,
Yeah.
um, paying attention to the prayers and your overheads is like your number one priority. And
Yeah.
so what the minion allows you to do is it allows you to keep doing that damage. And like let's talk about like the healers and Jad. So when you have Jad out, or you have the three Jads during Inferno,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a bunch of healers, you do need to clean up the healers. The minion will do the AoE attack and keep attacking and clean up the healers, and that allows you to like spend a few more seconds to focus on your prayers. And so I think the minion is a partial defensive mechanism on bosses where you need to keep doing damage while praying correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like that's the nice bit of minion. And then there's a huge cherry on top of like auto loot. You never need to pick up ground items. I know Foe has been talking about this on his stream, which is he wants to do like a Thorns combat mastery build,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he'll just like AFK kill a bunch of monsters, and the minion will just run around picking everything up.
Everything up. Yeah.
Um, and I think that's absolutely genius and kind of hilarious, but also really fun because
Yeah.
now you turned in like a semi AFK game into a fully AFK game where
Yeah.
you're also
Yeah.
looting, which is kind of nuts. So I think Minion has nice benefits. I think they both have a little bit of defensive benefits to them. I think right now let's say the third relic that they revealed is just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, I'm definitely gonna eye Minion. I think Minion's just nice steady damage. It's fun to kind of like have that auto looting kind of functionality. And like I said, that the AOE damage and cleanup is just it's just a nice quality of life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when I first saw this flask, since I did take the spec relic, I was like, yeah, this feels like a kind of like a nerf to both like the tier 8 relics from last league and then put into one, because it's kind of like it's not really last stand, but it's kind of giving you some of the benefits. It's kind of giving you spec as well. um but what made like the spec relic like super OP last league was it made every single special attack to turn into 20%, 20% or 25%, something like that.
Hmm.
um
Yep.
and it just allowed you to like just absolutely giga blast that one target that you had in mind, right? So if you had something like a ZCB like I did, or the Kopesh, and you had like builds around those items, they were doing like absurd damage, like absolutely insane damage. And you're just like insta phasing things like yeah. So when you look at this flask, it's not giving you that. um but now that we have like the combat mastery trees, and we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit, uh there is a lot of potential you can do with special energy, um and flask. Like you could do pretty much similar things, maybe not in like a short window, but your DPS is going to be pretty insane. um where you could like pull off multiple spec attacks and then quickly restore them, and then like kind of chain. So if you're fighting something with a ton of HP, um, I'd have to think of a bunch of things, or like multiple enemies. You can use this flask with the spec attack to do a ton of damage.
Oh yeah, especially in like the multiple AoE enemies situation, right? Like let's just take Inferno and Suck, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get to like the 3 Jad phase, and then you have the healers coming in as well, right?
Yeah.
You get the healers and you're focusing on your prayers. You see the healer spawn for like 1 or 2 Jads. You get into position, just drop this. You'll clear out the healers. You'll do a ton of damage, right? And then the specs that you mentioned, you can drop like a couple specs on each of the Jads,
Yeah.
and then maybe this like flask will finish them off, and then reset your spec so that way you can go fight Zuck, right? Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it's gonna be cracked to some degree with like the amount of AoE damage.
Yeah.
Um, but like if you were planning like I think if you're doing Toa, I can't remember the name of the alligator boss in Toa.
Z-back.
Um, Zebek, yeah, yeah. But if you're fighting Zebek, you can't drop like 5 ruby bolt specs with Zerai crossbow
Yeah,
with
yeah.
like the specialist, which is obviously way more powerful than what you were doing with like the DDS spec.
Yeah.
However, like since you're going as Garnia, you're gonna get the new Serb dagger, right? Um, I'm kind of curious what spec they're gonna put on the Serb dagger because I
Yeah.
think with the masteries you can make it like a 1 or 2 tick dagger. I think a 2 tick dagger,
Yeah.
and like if it also has a good spec, that might be really juicy actually.
Yeah, I think it also like double hits or something like that. Like th-
Yep, yep.
there's like there's so much like interesting things that is possible, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that conversation. But just to talk more about this tier 8, yeah, like minion is also pretty strong, just when you have something that just gives you a ton of DPS, and it's kind of like forget and just activate and just forget. It's so strong. Just helps you like clear a bunch of things, allows you to like focus on other things. Um and like,
Those are
yeah, go ahead.
there's a really good use for minion as well.
Yeah.
So we all are gonna have access to soul. And doing the Colosseum,
Yeah.
you have to kind of safe spot a lot of the monsters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so one thing you can do is you can attack the monster and then go back into your safe spot, and the
Mhm.
minion will continue to attack it, whether you're attacking it or not, I believe. And so that's actually going to be really helpful for everyone who are potentially considering minion, when they're
Mm.
going to go do their Coliseum runs, is to use that minion to kill the monsters safely from like behind the pillars.
Mm.
Um, I think that's like a really nice quality of life there.
Some cheese tactics, I see.
Yeah. However, like the flask is also good because you can just run out in the middle of all the
Yeah,
monsters
just
and then
click.
just drop the flask and like hit and erase everything
Yeah.
too. And you have 2.4 seconds of immunity, so like you're not gonna die during that time. You can
Yeah.
fix your prayers or whatever. And so like both of them work really well. It just depends on like how you want to use them. But yeah, Minion is really cool.
Mm.
Um, I think Minion was really fun in Toa. I think in Trailblazer, I think we had the Guardian, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Trailblazer Reloaded. And so I picked that and I went into Toa, and the Minion was really good at clearing the dog room, like the
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
all the minion spawns. So I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was really like nice quality of life if you're going Toa. Oh
Mhm.
man, I haven't done Toa in so long. I'm forgetting all the
The
boss
the
names.
names, yeah.
Akka, no, not Akka.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot his name too. I haven't done it in a while. Uh Kefri, Akka is the back, and yeah, the last guy.
Oh, Baba.
Baba, that's
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you're doing like all the mini Babas, yep, you get all the different types, and
Yeah.
so you can just have them clear half the monsters around you, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So you're thinking class at the moment? Like
Oh,
I forgot.
I think I'm thinking Minion.
Minion?
Yeah,
Okay.
for now. Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm still this is one that I haven't really locked in. and I
Mhm.
definitely really want to see the last tier option for sure.
Mhm.
Um, I think minion is just kind of a nice quality of life overall. And don't forget, also, I think the flask you can bring into Gauntlet as well,
Oh,
and
can
use it in
you?
Gauntlet. I think so, right? I think they gave
That's
that
pretty
clarification.
insane, actually. Okay.
If you can't, then I'm even more eyeing Minion, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. I don't remember if I
Yeah,
saw that or
because
not.
Flask would be very, very strong for
Oh
Echo
yeah, it
Huntlet.
says this perk also works inside the gauntlet. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so Flask is really nice from that perspective.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, Flask, I guess like when I look at these, I look at like how are they gonna help me with a bunch of different like bosses and like kill counts and stuff like that to help me kind of speed it up. And then I also look at how like noob friendly it is if I wanted to do something difficult. And like my like the main ones that even you brought up is like yeah, like Coliseum and Zuck, right? Like doing Inferno. Like when I'm looking at this tier, I'm just trying to like figure out like how can I do those two things? Like those are my biggest like hindrance in terms of trying to get the dragon, for example.
Yep. Yeah, and I
Um,
think that's actually going to be a big hindrance for most people because
mhm.
don't forget, it's not just like the points and the tasks, but some of your combat mastery points are also blocked behind um, those tasks of killing those monsters, right? Or those bosses.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it'll be important for everyone to eventually at least get one kill um, to fully unlock their tree.
Mhm. All right, so this is your region combination with your tiers. Sorry, relics. At the moment, subject to change, of course. What do you think? Like, any final thoughts before we move on to the masteries?
Nothing right now. Like I think I said, we have to see the last four. I think the
Okay,
last
yeah.
four are definitely gonna change a lot of my opinions. I think at least in tier three and tier six, I'm like, yeah, just show me something else that I really want.
Mm-hmm.
I think Reloaded is one that I'm 80-90% fixated on. Just depends on what the last one is. And then obviously the last tier eight. We'll see whatever is like the most if it's defensive, it's gonna be my pick most likely.
Okay.
If it's not defensive, then I'll have to figure out which one is gonna be the best one for my play style. Yeah.
And then what do you think about like some of these relic predictions? Like, do you think Banker's Note is coming back? Do you think Last Recall is coming back? Or Golden God? A lot of people are speculating. Probably we might not get them. Some are saying maybe Golden God. What do you think?
So I definitely don't think Golden God's gonna come back because transmutation is effectively overriding that infinite alchemical
Mm-hmm.
kind of ability, right?
Yeah.
So because it's been taken into that tier, I think transmutation is like I don't think we'll see the return of Golden God at all. Um, Especially because like Golden God is just like so powerful for fixing prayer, and the rest of it is just fixing magic. And since we're already fixing magic with transmutation, I don't think you're gonna get just Golden God just to fix prayer as a trade-off. I also wouldn't really see it stack up against like any of the tier six or tier three or tier seven or tier eight relics, right? Because
Yeah.
remember, like thematically, they would all be a similar style,
Yeah.
right? So like tier three will get a teleport relic. Tier six will get like another utility slash damage relic, I'm guessing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that one's not gonna come. I think tier seven has a good chance to become Banker's Note.
Okay.
I think Banker's Note has historically been one of the most powerful relics,
Yeah,
and if
yeah.
it were to come back, I think people would really eye it,
Mm-hmm.
and people would really want it. I think for me this time around, I wouldn't go Banker's Notes, and I would go Reloaded.
Yeah.
And I know like that's like everyone's like, "What? You're crazy."
Yeah, yeah.
But I think like Soul Harvest to fix rune crafting is better than Banker's Note, because then I still need to get the rune essence,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
And then if I don't go transmute, like if I go transmutation, then I can get stacks of rune essence,
Mm.
but I'm not going transmutation, right? And so like now I'm still back in the loop of like, ah, shit, I gotta go kill monsters and gather rune essence. If I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
Banker's Note at tier 7, whereas Soul Harvest just solves it for me. So yeah, I think tier 7 has a chance to be Banker's Note. I think tier 6 will be another utility type of relic with hopefully some sort of damage boost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that'll be. I'm kind of curious. What's
Yeah.
interesting is like this is Demonic Pacts League, and we have nothing that affects like demon monsters or demon bane weapons.
Okay.
Um, and so I'm really curious to see if like maybe tier 8 or tier 6 would be
Mm.
something like demonic, right?
Mm.
And impact the game like because we don't have tormented demons, right? So you don't have the weapons you get from tormented demons.
Yeah, that's
Um,
actually a good point. Like for Doom, you need like a demon bane weapon, right?
I think so. I think they were saying they were going to move tormented demons into another spot where we could kill them or something.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
I think there was like a rumor maybe like that, and maybe it's just not confirmed. So
Yeah, yeah.
we still have like almost a full week of spoilers left, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so like they may tease that like, hey, you can actually now fight tormented demons
Mm-hmm.
in Yama's lair as Yama's minions or something,
Yeah.
right? Like that could be a really cool thematic thing that they do. But yeah, I think on theme, I think Banker's Note maybe coming in at tier 7. Um, I don't know what the teleport relic would be at tier 3, but tier 3 is definitely now going to be a teleport relic.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
and then, which actually, there's a small chance that tier 3 is not a teleport relic. And the reason
Mm.
being is Nature's Accord has a teleportation tool
Yeah.
at tier 5. And so maybe they're like, if people skip out on teleport relic at tier 3, people might try to correct it and pick a teleport relic at Nature's Accord.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I'm like, yeah, screw that. I don't want a teleport relic at all. Just give me more utility and power.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I would consider that as well. Like if they just decide, oh, like I don't even know what they could give us, but if it's something other than teleport, um, there's potential there too. It's just it's just a waiting game to get these relics out of the way. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Um, Yeah, if you go back to the build, right? Like in the
yep.
build, I think I'm trying to think like what skills have I not fixed?
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really fixed construction. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't really fixed like hunter, slayer, farming, fletching, herb lore.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if that's the case, and this is my build, like we haven't seen any relic really affect construction at all. So
Yeah.
I feel like one of the relics here might affect construction.
Guess you could say like Butler transmutation, kind of, sort of.
Oh yeah, because it make Butler makes the planks, I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah, no,
yeah.
you're right. And then transmutation can also get you the logs and planks and stuff. Okay, fair enough.
Kind of, sort of. Not the
Yeah, so I guess
best.
Butler does give you an option for construction. You're right.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but
I'm kind of now I'm thinking though, like the what if the tier 3 relic, the last teleport one, is something to do with houses. So maybe it
mm,
teleports you to house portals, maybe it teleports you to Mahogany Homes houses, maybe it teleports you to like other homes of I don't know, famous RuneScape NPCs or
yeah,
something,
yeah, just some
or like
random
quest.
stuff.
Ooh, actually, what if it's a
Quest.
relic that teleports you to all the quest starting locations?
Hmm. Interesting. That
Is
that
that
could
is
be.
there enough? Yeah, is there enough? I don't know. I think now I'm just speculating at this
Yeah,
point, but
yeah.
it's stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of curious now as to what it is. I'm hoping that there is some benefit, like map of alacrity benefits some things. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Quest one could be high potential. That could be really, really interesting. Is there a map here? This one doesn't show the quest. Oh, they put the agility shortcuts here. Okay, nice. Oh yeah, this was the agility shortcut I was talking about for Zaya.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Okay, cool. Anything else related to the regions and relics, or should we
No,
move on?
I think we like yeah, we covered a lot of this.
Okay, let's talk about the masteries. Do you want to briefly talk about today's reveal? Because it's like mastery related, but there's like some interesting stuff out there. Um,
Yeah. If you pull up the wiki page around the demonic packs,
oh, the
they've
wiki
already like
page.
yeah, the wiki page has already got a details on it actually now.
Okay.
Which
I-
is really good.
where
I
do you want
can
me to
I can send
look?
you I can send you a link on Discord if you want.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, today's reveal was just like more detail about the packs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like uh if you like in here, right? If
Yeah,
you
sorry,
scroll
I'm
down to
just
the
looking.
bottom,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom to the tasks,
Yeah.
um, now you can see like all the tasks you have to do to
Yep, yep.
complete to get all the points, right? So they did say like, oh, you get 40 points, right? And everyone's like, holy crap,
Yeah,
40
yeah.
is crazy,
yeah.
right? There's a big asterisk there.
Yeah.
You have to kill all the content to
Mm-hmm.
be able to unlock all 40 of those points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look, one of them is Infernal Cape, and one of them is like the Zuck special challenge, right? Which I
Yep,
think
the
is the six
six.
Jad fights.
Yep.
And like those two are both difficult content for most players, even with all the crazy buffs from leagues.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
so I
agree.
think those are like 2 points that people are gonna not have a lot of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, there's I think Soul might be one of them, or
Yep.
Echo Soul is one of them because you need to kill 4 unique Echo bosses. So that's
Well, I
another
think
one.
I don't know if Echo Soul is one of them because you have a Moxie now.
Oh, you have Moxie now. You're
Yeah.
right. I totally forgot about a Moxie.
Yeah. So it's just like a random side thing, but I've been like working on like a guide, just kind of putting like resources together.
Hmm.
And I've been like theory crafting some builds. And I did look at all of these, just like a quick little preview of all the sort of like task, and I kind of gave it like a difficulty rating on
Okay.
how I think like some of these are free, as in like you just open the tutorial. Some of them are easy.
Yep, yep.
I could just show you what I said were elite. So the elite ones that I have, let's just look at like Varlamore and Karamja. Um, I had it as yeah, Coliseum. I think Treads is also sort of elite because you have to, build the power to do Doom, but I'm not very familiar with it, so maybe I might be overrating them. And then of course, like you said, Inferno and the special challenges. Um, those are very difficult, and those are points that you're missing out. And of course, like I have a couple in my region choices as well that are kind of difficult. Um, um, like for example, like Corp. You can't just walk into Corp and just do Corp.
Mm.
Um, it might be like kind of rated hard, and this is just like a brief kind of um estimate. But yes, some of these challenges are hard. So if you look at the overall um list, yeah, like some of these, it tells you, like if we just look based on the points itself, like you could just
Yep.
assume these are going to be like sort of elite, like they are elite points.
Yeah, I think like Zaya looks like the most free one to me. Oh, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
not Zaya. Kandarin, sorry.
Kandarin,
Like
yeah.
Kandarin has like Zenite jewelry at the end and a cult necklace, but
Yeah,
like both of those are super easy. Abyssal Tentacle is super easy, right? Tridents are super easy.
yeah,
I think that one is like one of the easiest ones. So now I'm like, all right,
yeah,
Kandarin stocks just went up,
yeah,
which is nice. Dragon Hunter Lance isn't so bad, but like Ancestral can be painful just getting the drops. So like some of these are drop dependent, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
And the occult necklace and Zenite jewelry have like a higher drop rate in general in comparison to other drops.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's like a lot easier. Phosani's Nightmare is a
Oh
little bit hard, maybe not too bad.
yeah, from
Completing
Mauritania.
top 25 times in normal
Yeah.
or hard mode isn't so bad. Um, I found actually normal mode to be super easy in the last league. Turanwin is pretty straightforward. Toxic Blowpipe and the Corrupted Weapon, so Bofo once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that should totally be doable because he doesn't require the Echo Boss.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of these are relatively easy in some of the regions. Just some regions have a few difficult ones.
Yeah.
I think Awakened Whisperer in Asgarnia is
Oh yeah.
definitely challenge. Like that is a
Yeah, yeah.
mechanical boss.
Yeah.
And then also defeating Nex solo
Solo, yeah. That's
is
hard.
definitely, if anything, I think like right now from what I look, Asgarnia looks to be the hardest
The
in my
hardest,
opinion,
yeah.
actually. Like even Awaken Leviathan, like you can just get lucky. There's also a problem where you like in order to kill the awakened boss, you have to get the awakened orb, right? And then
Mm.
fight it. I think Vardorvis is like the easiest, or Vardorvis and like the Duke are like the easiest awakened bosses in my opinion. Especially if you go a melee build, Vardorvis is like super easy to just
Yeah, yeah.
erase. Um, but yeah, oh yeah, so you do have to complete Wave 12 of Fortis for one of the points.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
I think
hard.
that's pretty hard. I think and then the three Zuck challenges. So I think if everyone keeps a target of like maybe like 35 points,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably a better target than for people to have like the full 40-point tree planned out,
Yeah, yeah.
at
Uh
least for the average player.
yeah. So yeah, I had a bunch of elites, so I could also just show you some of like my easy slash or what I considered easy. Um so this is like if we don't look at my other regions, you get what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I feel like 8 points just from the start is pretty easy to sort
Hmm.
of like plan for, right? So the two freebies, Hill Giant, combat level 50, protection prayer, Huey. The only reason I put Huey as easy is because you can do it in a group.
Oh yeah, and everyone will have moons, so everyone will have like some sort of boppers or dual wield hammers, right?
Yeah,
You just join a mass world of 20 people and just smack the hell out of Huey. Yeah,
yeah,
it'll definitely be an early game kill for sure.
yeah. And like Tazar, pretty easy. Steel Dragon, like a little bit of, you gotta like think about it because I remember
Well,
just
now you have the elemental masteries, right? So just I think was it earth spells or water spells, whatever. Just
see
yeah.
here's the thing though. Since you only have 3 respecs, you kind of have to be careful about. Oh, sorry. You're talking about elemental masteries, like weaknesses.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just like you
Yeah,
can brute force a steel dragon
Steel
with
Dragon.
enough runes,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like
yep.
it's hard to do with melee or range if you don't have like diamond bolts in range or good melee gear.
Right, right.
But if you just needed to kill one steel dragon, I
Yeah,
think they're weak to. Hold on, let me pull it up. They're weak to what? Water spells or earth spells. 50% weakness to earth spells.
yeah,
So just do like earth blast or whatever,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it goes from like being like a 30-second kill to like a 3-minute kill or whatever. But that's really small for just one of your points. And don't
yeah.
forget, like this is also a league task, right? So you're gonna get like 30 regular points too.
Points, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
I
just
think it's
remember.
totally doable.
Yeah, I just remember pathing to it last time, and and I remember like I almost died getting it, and then it was crazy because I think it dropped Runite limbs too, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is so nice for a rune crossbow later on.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. Got to bring the law runes so you can
Y-
telegrab that.
yeah, yeah. I just ran up there and grabbed it. I almost died. Like it was fun. That was a solid highlight for day one, I think. Um,
Nice.
but but yeah, I mean, I still agree with you that you know there is gonna be like a number that is probably more feasible, like doable when planning how many pact points you can use, and then because you're not gonna have full build um, until you are like much stronger.
Yep. And I think this is the part where like you and I being Path of Exile players, we
Yeah,
have like a good understanding of how to use the trees, right? Because you only get three respecs total, right?
yeah.
And so the way I'm looking at it is like I will have like an early game, a mid game, and a late game tree.
Okay, so you're
And
thinking like that. Okay.
yeah, or maybe like two early slash mid game trees and then two late game trees, or just like an early mid and then a late game, and then I'll just save my third last respec for a fun tree at the end,
Mm,
as like as another option. And the reason being is like you want certain items to like, all right, like we'll just do the Path of Exile analogy, right? Which
yeah,
is you farm up your like league starter build and you like create your basic gear and go about it that way, right?
yeah,
And then once you hit a certain threshold and you have like all your new gear crafted for like your next build or your upgrade, you then respec into your like your second skill or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
right? And so like the same thing applies here. We're like we're all gonna start with moons, so get things on your trees that are good with like the atlatl, good with like the boppers, right? And stuff like that. And then whatever like your first or second region is, get
mm-hmm,
nodes that work well with that. Like if I was thining to maybe move like Kandrin up, I could like the problem is Kandrin is behind like higher Slayer levels for the charge staffs.
yeah,
Otherwise I would go Kandrin earlier and then I could just go and like go get kill like Kraken. But
yeah,
anyways, figure out what gear you're going to have access to early and
mm-hmm,
prioritize your first tree to like that early and mid game gear,
yeah,
and then like you can use that once you're maxed out to like go farm out your end game gear. Once you get all of your pieces for like your end game build, then do a reset and then create your second tree, right? Once you have that gear, it's like the same thing as Path of Exile kind of applies in this situation. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. There's actually a bunch of different things to talk about. I'm like trying to think now. Yeah, so actually let me just pull up the tree and we could kind of play around with this. I don't know which tools you've been kind of playing around with for the tree, but I've been using this one. Um, OSRS leaks countdown.io. It's pretty solid. I know they had their own sort of tree as well. I don't know, I just like
Yeah, the
this.
wiki just added their own tree. I think with the wiki was already planning to launch a tree because
Yeah.
they collaborated with Jagex on it
Yeah.
today. But the players, using like Claude code,
Yeah,
built
yeah.
out the tree so fast that they didn't even need it. So yeah, I'm actually like I switched over to the wiki one.
Okay.
But this one they're both just as good. They do almost exactly the same exact thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so it just depends on like I think the wiki one is just slightly better at grouping the data, just like slightly nicer,
Okay,
just
yeah,
because
yeah.
it was planned out. But it's really not that much different. Um,
Is there a way
yeah,
to share this bit? Oh, I guess like the link, it'll just be a long link. Okay.
yeah. The link will just be a long link. It'll just
Okay.
tell you like the chaining of the orders of your
Mm-hmm.
path and like how things are linked.
Yeah.
Um,
So I made like on day one, I like, like the POE brain never leaves, right? So I like already started coming up with different ideas and theories on what could be possible. So I have a couple ideas, but I would love to hear like like what is your day one slash early, like first you talked about like early build plan, like what is something that gets you like excited or you want to build towards?
yeah, so I think the range one with the atlatl is like once they Jagex give a clarification I think on
Yeah,
Discord, which is the atlatl counts as a thrown weapon, right?
yeah.
And so there's a node in the range area which also gives you like strength
Oh yeah,
um to
from your
your
melee.
yeah, based off of your melee strength to the
Mm-hmm.
thrown equipped weapon. So that pretty much just double dips with that ladle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like that node is one of the most powerful kind of like early nodes to get. And
Mm.
so I think that was kind of like my original idea to rush towards that direction,
Okay.
right? That said, I think melee's also good just because there's a lot of like early dual wielding weapons that you get.
Yeah.
And then don't forget like Moxie, yeah, I can't even
Yeah.
pronounce that
Yeah. Yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
And Moxie drops like the Echo boppers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like if those are really powerful, going for like a dual wield type of double hit type of
Mm.
strategy on the tree would be really good. I haven't really looked too much at the tree, I'll be honest.
Okay. Okay.
Um, just because like I haven't like there's just so much there's 100 nodes to look at,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's easier to look at like one relic per day after work than it is to look at like 100 nodes and try to analyze the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I know I've been watching Foe a little bit, and he's been eyeing like a crazy Fury two-handed build,
Yep.
or a Thorns build, which both look really good. But I think
Yeah.
yeah, so just thinking about whatever your early item is, so I think Atlatl is probably the most busted one. Range in general is like a pretty good kind of like combat style to train for anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and oh, one other thing that Jagex clarified was you can get over 100% regeneration, and it does work. And so
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yep.
what's interesting with that is if your early tree maxes out regeneration, you can
Mm-hmm.
actually create more atlatl darts than you use,
Yep.
right? And so like you do a bunch of moons early on, you get like a baseline of like I don't know 500 atlatl darts, 1,000 darts, or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You max out your tree so you have over regeneration, and now you're actually producing atlatl darts,
Yeah.
and so you never run out again. And then like that way you can just build up your whole supply. And the same thing with regeneration stacks with runes and everything else. So you can just build up a massive supply of like resources with that initial tree. So that was like
Yeah.
another kind of early combination I was kind of thinking. Um, so that way you don't like burn out your supplies early on when they're scarce. And
Okay.
then when you switch into your late game build, you just remove all the regeneration down to like the minimum base 50%,
Mm-hmm.
and you have plenty of supplies that you don't care about that afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Cool. So are you? So let me ask this, right? Are you planning to kind of like aim towards moons early on to kind of get your starter slash mid tier gear?
Yep. Yeah. As soon as I have like enough gear to go and clear all the bosses, I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty much just gonna spam moons. And don't forget, like you have like the dry, not the dry, you have the dupe immunity, right, with moons. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much just gonna rush like the full sets of every set as much as
Okay.
possible. And then that will just become my gear, I think, for everything.
Mm.
And then don't forget, like moons also gives you like bone shards for prayer, or like sun-kissed bones, I guess. It'll give you tons of erits for herblore as well, right?
Yeah.
There's a good amount of resources that you get for moons. And so like as soon as I'm able to like have some basic gear, I don't know exactly when that'll be. But when I do, I'll go in there and go to town. I remember like when you have Misthalin, right? You just go into like the Champions Guild, then you can just buy like green D-hide, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can buy like rune gear, and that's like your easy source. So I actually haven't figured out in the top of my head where I'm gonna get that early gear in
Mm-hmm.
to like go and do moons with. Um, but I'm sure some content creator, some streamer, someone will say like, "Hey, this is the plan. This is where we're gonna get gear." So I'll
Gear.
kind of
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
just cheese and copy off of whatever they find. But I think that's gonna be important for everyone to kind of think about is where are you gonna get your like 0 to like 1 gear, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
once you get like your really basic gear you can do moons with, then you can go and move on and just use your moons gear for the rest of the game pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's just so many things to look at here. I pretty much spent like all my time yesterday not even looking at any of the relics. I just looked at this tree, just scanning different things. Um so let me just showcase some of my ideas and let me know what you think. Um um okay, yeah. So since you're going Zaya and Kandarin, I had this one build set up. I unfortunately was using this because the other stuff wasn't available. And
Okay.
actually,
Yeah.
I actually spent only 30 points because I assumed it was going to be like maybe 30 points. But the
Right.
fact
Right.
that we're getting 40 is kind of insane. Um, so this setup, just to kind of like explain real quickly, it relies on water spells. And this is probably the most insane thing that I've seen. It's healing you for 60% of the damage you deal. Um, that's crazy. And I guess with this, you would technically need Desert or Grimoire because, I have ice spells now count as water. So now you're like ice barraging everything and you're
Okay. Yep.
healing 60% of it. But let's say you don't want to go Grimoire, you could spec out of it. You could still use the water to kind of heal you up whenever you need to. But there's this one node that is pretty insane, which is it like speeds up the attack rate of your powered staffs by like 3 ticks. And if it's one handed, the max hit is reduced by 8. But if you're using a shadow, it's not applied to this.
Right,
So
but the shadow's a 5 tick one, so that'll go down to 2 tick, whereas all the other powered staves I think are four
yeah,
tick, so they'll go down to one
to
tick. So I
one
think that's how
tick.
it's balanced. Yeah.
Yeah. But with the shadow and the tree having all these like percent nodes that will apply to the shadow, it's pretty nuts. Um I don't know what is the total percent. It's like so 8% magic damage. And then you have
Hmm.
Kandarin, you have Zaya, so you could get like ancestral, occult, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Um So this was like one potential build, and the reason why I also went water is you can overheal. So this is overhealing to like 190%. So I guess 90% over your hit points.
Yep. Yeah, I think someone was saying like you get to like 180 hit points, or sorry, not 167 hit points, or something like that, which
Yeah.
is absurd. Um, and if you wanted to, you can just for like one extra point click the air one, and then
Yeah.
you can also get like the air benefits. If you're using like
This one, yeah.
oh, so it depends if you're using like water wave or water surge,
Yeah.
because you can regenerate any rune for the spell cast. So even though
Yep.
you're casting a water spell, because Water Wave uses air runes, you can regenerate air runes and then also get the benefits for that as well, right?
Yeah.
So your air spells can regenerate prayer as well, which is kind of powerful. Which is pretty nice to add. Like it just depends. Like this is where like I was like the Kandrin, the element is good, right? Because you get the
Yeah.
elemental weakness, and that becomes ultra powerful. So I think that's like pretty cracked. And then like I wasn't thinking about Tunic and Shadow in the early stages just because it's
Oh,
something I
yeah,
would
yeah,
have
yeah.
later on. However, I think what's really sick is in my late game end game setup, I'll have access to powered staffs, whether it's Tunic and Shadow or anything else. So I
Yeah.
can just spend like what is it, like 6 points or 5 points just to get to that trident node, like the
Yeah,
powered
yeah.
staffs node. So one, two, three, four,
I
five,
think it's
six,
like
right?
6, yeah.
Yeah, so I can just spend 6 points to get to here, and then I can just spend all my points in like range or melee, and I'd still have a really good one tick like
Mhm.
charge staff setup, which is pretty nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do early on, right? Like so like you said, like moons is like a very good um first thing to do, so to speak. I'm just wondering like what I want to do, and like my first initial thought was to just go like um just standard spellbook, where with this node, it's 2 ticks faster for all your combat skills. So it's about 6 points, and then like go into water if I have to do like any like mid tier PVM to just kind of get like a little bit of heals if I need it,
Yep.
until I could get the powered staff, um, and then probably just use trident for majority of things, and then maybe go into melee. Like originally, I had like Thorn's idea, but there's some crazy stuff you could do with this blind bag setup. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. To charge a Tumican Shadow, it's Soul Runes and Chaos Runes. Okay, so you can't actually regenerate any runes that give you the element masteries for magic with
yeah,
Tumican
yeah.
Shadow. So never mind.
Um, the other idea um, is, since I'm going turn win, I could go turn win early and use this to power up my staff in the
Mhm.
Hunlith.
Okay.
And
Yep.
I believe it's considered two-handed. So, there's no downside to this. It's just 3 ticks faster.
Yep.
And it will just absolutely destroy Hunlith. So that could be another potential.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's probably a good play if you're gonna rush Tronwyn first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see if range has anything good because like you do have some good bow nodes, but I still think mage is more cracked um
Yeah.
early on.
Let's see. Like
Melee
early.
might be good because melee has the halberd nodes,
Yeah.
right? Like the two hand, and so like melee might be good for Tronwyn as well for a couple early points.
Yeah, like melee, I have like a couple ideas as well. 'Cause, like I think this blind bag thing is kind of busted. Like kind of like maybe like towards the end game, like this thing has to be like the most broken thing because it just gives you a chance to trigger just a random hit from your melee weapon. And I think your all like the accuracy stuff that are like along the way to like go up here and stuff like that um are gonna help out with like doing consistent damage. um and then if you combine it with like this halberd, right, like where you get 7 range halberd, it's kind of absurd. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, there's just so much things that are possible. Yeah, I mean, there's also this one notable. I don't know how I don't know if this is gonna work exactly as what I think it does, but here it's saying that your two-handed melee weapon has a chance to trigger a ranged echo, um, or a chance to trigger a ranged echo as if you have a crossbow, a bow, and a throne. And I don't know if that stacks with like these 3 nodes over here. And there's like a couple more. Like so if you're going like melee ranged hybrid, um, like some of these combos could get absurd. And you could just permanently stay melee. Um
The ranged echo is an item in your inventory. Is that how it works?
no, so ranged echo is like from last league. You know how like there was like an echo effect on the melee, like it had a
Hmm.
chance to do like a second hit.
Right, right, right.
So I think they brought that to just ranged. And what they did was, so like bow has uh an effect where ranged echo never misses.
Hmm.
Crossbow is you have a 15% chance to trigger the actual effect of the echo. um and then for thrown weapons, it's like 20% chance for it to max hit.
Right, but that melee node requires you to hit the target with a two-handed melee weapon, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you have like a halberd, like a Noxious Halley.
Mm-hmm.
You attack with that.
Mm-hmm.
What weapon triggers that ranged echo? Like, is
Um,
it one from your inventory or is it
no,
just
it's
random?
just I believe it's just going to do like some sort of like animation from the halberd itself.
Oh, okay, okay. Got it. So it'll just be an echo hit,
Yeah.
but it'll be with the melee weapon that you're holding. Okay.
Yeah,
As if
yeah.
it was a ranged weapon.
Yeah.
But it counts as a bow, crossbow, and thrown. So,
Yeah.
oh, so you get to
It's like a triple
use
dip.
Yeah, so you get to use all the points that are below the tree in the range
Yeah.
part of the tree with that echo hit. Okay, okay, got you. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so there's a lot of crazy things. I just don't know if this is possible. Like this sounds pretty crazy. Um
I think
this
it should be possible because your chance is only 5%. Like that's a really low chance, and you
yeah.
can't boost it anyway, right? Like there's no
So
other nodes to get additional chances.
this is the only node that boosts it. So this is saying, you have 15% chance to trigger ranged echoes. So if this is 15 and this is 5, um
Oh yeah,
it
all three of them are 5%, right?
so this all this is saying is it's a 5% chance to trigger a ranged echo. And then what the crossbow is saying is there's a 15% chance to trigger a ranged echo. So it's like a plus. Like I don't know if it's flat or not, and
Oh, okay.
whether
Makes
this
sense.
puts it to 20 or not. Because yeah, like we need some clarifying questions here. you know, um,
Yeah, that definitely needs. I think there's a live stream tomorrow. It's probably worth asking.
yeah, um, yeah. There's a couple things. Like for example, like the other build that I had in mind, since I'm going wilderness, is like the crossbow, right? So it's just I don't know why I went that way, but whatever. Like this crossbow setup.
Mhm.
Um, And the crossbow actually is considered an ice element, like an ice barrage. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
so I'm wondering if it can heal you.
yeah. That's what Fo said he wanted to ask in the stream tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is like, does it work and does it count? And I think they said like we haven't revealed the mechanics of the
Mm.
items yet, of the echo items yet, so that's why they haven't spoiled that
I
yet,
haven't
and if it
spoiled it yet.
works. So that makes sense to me. So I
Yeah.
think we'll just wait until they explain the mechanics. And I
Yeah.
think once they do, they'll explain whether you can double dip or not from that heal, because that would also be another crazy like healing mechanism
Yeah.
in the game. Yeah.
And then you would just go like plus 30%, plus 30%. Then you could, have like an healing crossbow that hits twice per hit and heals you to 90% above your HP. like
Yeah. The only part I don't like about the crossbows though is like they're hard 7 tick, right?
7 tick, yeah.
And so it's like, do I always want like a 7 tick? I think what's like interesting about it that people forget
Mm-hmm.
is you can during the 7 tick delay, like you just run around and like dodge mechanics in the game. You like focus on your prayers. You don't focus on attacking, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's kind of nice. I think the biggest issue is like if you don't get the damage high enough, like if your crossbow is not hitting like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
150 damage, is it really worth it to
It's a
go
yeah,
as slow as a 7 tick, right?
I agree.
Um, Also, like, who has access to good crossbows? Kandrian has crossbow,
Yeah, yeah.
ballistas, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's why I
then,
said like maybe yeah, Asgarnia has it. Like Wilderness, the Echo we don't know
yeah.
much about, but yeah, Zarak crossbow. Maybe the Dragon Hunter crossbow from Zaya.
Oh, sorry, these are crossbows. I was thinking ballista. I was thinking heavy. Sorry.
Oh, actually they talked about it recently or someone said something that ballistas count too.
Okay. Because ballistas are the ones that are going to hit the biggest damage, right?
Yeah, they're gonna go
Like,
crazy.
your crossbows, like your Zerai crossbow or armor crossbow, whatever, like, mostly, like, your biggest damage is when you proc a ruby bolt, right? And then
Yeah.
you hit 100 or 120 with a Zerai crossbow spec, right? And so
Mm.
I think, like, that's the part where it's like, what is it your actual max hit with the crossbows? And going to a 7 tick is like, is it, I really don't think it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think see that's why I'm it's kind of sad that you only have like 3 respecs. Like they gave us like the beauty about PoE is um you get to respec. And the reason why people don't respec a lot in PoE is because they're following a guide, right?
Hmm.
This is brand new to us. Like we don't like no one has any footage of any of these builds. So for us to experiment with them, we only have 3 respecs. It's kind of it's, it's a little sad. Like I wish they had like a way. Like I wish they just made it like even like 2 million gold per respec point or something like that. Like something
Mhm.
absurd. Um, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a fair thing. I think leagues has always been a little like when they did Shattered Relics, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could pretty much just do any permutation combination that you wanted,
Yeah.
and I think they saw players like just like go blast everything and then just kind of quit at the end.
Yeah.
And so it's like it makes the decisions. I think like the whole idea is to make your decisions mean a lot more than they should, right?
Yeah.
Because you could easily like, oh, I just accidentally click this, just accidentally click this. Doesn't matter. I'll just
Yeah.
reset everything. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
And so I think like I'm glad that they are doing something intentional, but
Mm-hmm.
you're absolutely right. Like we haven't seen the power. I will say additionally too is like I think the biggest fun was going to be when like you use all three of your trees,
Yep.
and then you find out about some crazy cracked
Yeah.
builds that you want to do, and you're like, ah, crap,
I
I
can't
used
do
all my
it.
threes,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I'm thinking like maybe I'll just do like a mid game and a late game tree, and then I'll
Yeah.
keep my third one in my pocket just in case I want to do like a fun or crazy respec tree at the end.
Yeah.
Also, like I think you and I both said, like we're open to just spin up a second character and
Yeah.
like go test out a new build. Because
Yeah.
also like it's not just about having the tree, right? It's also about having the region with the right items. Like if I want to go this crazy blind bag dual wielding hit, I have to choose Mauritania, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get like the double sights,
Yeah, it makes the
get
most sense.
Asgarnia for the God Swords, right? Yeah, get the DH axe, Soul Reaper
Yeah.
axe. I mean,
Yeah.
Soul Reaper axe, I guess everyone can get. Um, but yeah, like you would want all the right weapons to really make that count. And so like your regions are also dependent somewhat here, right? And
Yeah.
like I think with me selecting Kandarin, I'm like, yeah, I really want to go into this like elemental mastery stuff because I'll be able to boost that and
Mm-hmm.
have all the crazy magic benefits of my regions. Plus, like Tunic and Shadow with all the magic 1% damage boost and stuff like that can be really strong.
Yep.
So yeah, I think there's a lot to consider. I think we just need some more information from Jagex on the spoilers.
Yeah.
I really want to know, like, because like also like we don't know any of the stats. Like the Hespori bow could be crazy good, right?
Yeah. Of
And it could
course.
have
Yeah.
really good prayer and health restoration, as they said. And I can just max out health restoration percentages with ranged,
Mm-hmm.
and like do a bow and prayer restoration with range, and just do like an infinite sustain AFK build with
Yeah.
range with that bow as like my T1. So I think we'll need to know that. Um, but yeah, I think there's just so much unknown with the masteries. That's why I really haven't wanted to dive into it because we don't know the gear and we don't know that much about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but hey, it's been a blast talking and like going through all the deets with you.
Yep.
I think we should kind of wrap it up. I gotta head out in a bit.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, we definitely went a little longer than I was planning. But
Yeah, yeah. Sorry
any
about that,
closing
but
remarks? I guess. Yeah, no worries, no worries.
um,
Um,
no, I mean, I'll leave that to you. Like, we talked about a bunch of things. It's been fun. Like, this is like the only thing I would have to say is, yeah, it's my first time trying to do anything like this, and it's been fun. Like, in it's been a pleasure talking to you. Like my first guest ever into this podcast slash discussion thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I had a blast. Hey, thanks for organizing and kind of preparing like the agenda and kind of walking me through kind of the start to the finish.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. If you do this again, definitely let me know. I'll definitely jump on. It was a great time. Hopefully the people in the audience. I think I saw some chatters come in and be able to listen and talk about to hear us kind of debate the pros and cons and kind of our two different approaches. And I think it's what's really nice is like you and I had like contrasting approaches where
yeah,
you were going for like the Dragon Rush and I'm going for like the try hard casual
yeah, yeah,
kind of approach. And so like it's really nice I think to have great contrasting perspectives. So hey, it's been a blast. Yeah, maybe we should do one if we have time right before the league. But I know I'm gonna be pretty busy before then. Maybe we can do one after the league or midway through or something.
Y-
It would
yeah,
be a good
yeah.
time to kind of like see where we're at and see what's going on.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, I was gonna ask like all my guests pretty much, but I would love to do like some sort of like a retro maybe like a weekend or something like that, or whenever you're free, or even like something like super casual where you could stop by when I'm like streaming or something like that, and just simply press record, just have a little conversation, see how our leaks is going.
Yeah, absolutely. If I have some time, I think we're doing a little bit of a LAN party
Oh
for
yeah.
League launch with some friends. So definitely not on League launch day. And I'm sure you'll be blasting and racing towards Dragon. But yeah, I'll definitely check in and it'll be a fun time. Definitely let me know on how the rest of the calls go. I'll try to tune in if I can to listen about the rest of the guests and hear their takes and opinions for sure.
All right. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this little discussion and podcast. It was great having you, and yeah, I think that's it. I don't
All
really
right.
have a closing just piece. Yeah.
All right. Well, you'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
one's
yeah.
always the weird one. After that, you know exactly how to go. Awesome.
Right,
Hey,
right.
thanks for having me. Have a good night. Thanks, chat, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure.
All right, take care, man. All right. How did that go, guys? I'm just gonna like I just wanna put out like a final couple words. Um yeah, we definitely went a little overboard and I kind of lost track of time. It was just like a fun conversation. It was a fun little discussion. Um so yeah, I gotta be a little more timely, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna try to put all the timestamps there so then you guys could take a look at all the different conversations and then kind of like jump around to see what you're interested in. And I have a couple more guests that I'm planning. Hopefully they accept. um I have one guest lined up for Friday. I'm a little unsure about tomorrow. Saturday I am going away for something, so I'm completely busy for that day. And then Sunday and Monday, I'm still waiting to get back from a couple people. But Friday's guest, I'm going to have someone who's a point capper. So we're going to look at his perspective on, point capping. And I'll try to bring like a couple other people who are, doing different strategies, have like different region combinations. And we'll kind of see like what other people think about the league. We'll kind of see like what others are planning, what other people are cooking, and then also what's Jagex cooking. Right? There's so many things to be revealed. There's so many things to talk about. We're a week away. There's 6 more reveals, I guess, or 5 more, something like that. And yeah, I will um I'm also like putting together like some sort of a guide slash like my plans on like some of my takes. I've been kind of just saving that as like a side episode. It's kind of like my idea, right? Like if someone either cancels or does something last minute, I could just talk about what are my plans for the league, etc. Um, and then we'll see kind of like as we get like a task list. Maybe I do something I did last time where I created, quick getting to your first region, your first relic, things like that, like a Varlamore speed runs and whatnot. Anyways, I am going to end it there. I will talk to you guys later. I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Take care. Peace, peace.